Welcome to the following presentation of the Southeastern Conference on ABC.
Hey, we've got one of the blue blood battles that only the new expanded SEC can deliver. For the first time in 84 years, Florida taking on Texas. Fifth-ranked Longhorns trying to stay the course for the SEC championship game against the improving Gators. The big question is, will Florida have their sensational freshman quarterback DJ Lagway available? Katie George gives us the latest.
Yeah, Tess, Billy Napier tells me that DJ Lagway is not ready to play in today's game. Yes, he made a lot of progress this week, but they want to make sure he's available next Saturday when Florida hosts LSU. So they did not want to risk any kind of setback here today. Now, he did go through pregame warmups in case he's needed in an emergency situation, but Aiden Warner will start for the Florida Gators here today, Tess.
Joe Tessitore, Jesse Palmer with you. Thank you very much, Katie. All right, so Jess, your reaction to the news, no Lagway, they're going with Aiden Warner.
Well, Warner certainly had some ups and downs in their game last week against Georgia, but the coaching staff said that with a full week of practice, he's more confident, he's got better chemistry with his teammates, which is really important because the Gators are really banged up at some other spots offensively. We'll talk about that, but the staff feels like if Aiden Warner just plays error-free football, the way their defense has been playing the last 4 games, they have a shot to win this one.
All right, let's focus on Texas for a bit here. They are as talented with their roster as any team in the country. They were #1 in the country. Of course, the loss to Georgia. Now comes this stretch of the season where they feel like they can be primed.
This was a boxing match. This is now the championship rounds of the fight, right? And obviously, this is a team that's coming off a bye week. Some key guys get healthy, and now you can refocus on the stretch ahead. Big games on the road at Arkansas, at Texas A&M, renewed rivalries, maybe an SEC championship game. They got knocked down a few weeks ago against Georgia. They're back on their feet. They've got to swing because they're playing a Gator team, Joe, that is very confident these last 4 games.
There they are. Here come the Horns. Dangerous offense, one of the top-ranked defenses in the country. And we will be back with kickoff after this message and a word from our ABC station. What a scene. It is the SEC on ABC, presented by Tums Gummy Bites. This is Veterans Week on ESPN, presented by USAA, the 100th anniversary of DKR, Texas Memorial Stadium. 2 teams haven't played since December 7th, 1940, as Quinn Ewers, the star quarterback, will be out there in moments. As Florida won the toss, they elected to defer. Steve Sarkisian trying to get his team ready for this stretch run with a championship on the line. The young quarterback who gets his chance is Aiden Warner, the redshirt freshman transfer from Yale, and Billy Napier, who received great news this week as to his coaching future. We will get into that a little later on. And a beautiful sun-kissed Texas Saturday afternoon from here in Austin. Joe Tessitore, Jesse Palmer, and Katie George with you. 84 years since they've played. We knew when obviously the expansion happened we'd get some unique rebirths of games, some rivalries renewed, and then this outlier. Florida at Texas, here we go. As Matthew Golden will not have a chance to return this. So, Jesse, here comes Quinn Ewers, who, of course, injured earlier this year with the abdominal strain, has come back and has thrown a touchdown in 19 straight.
But it's really important, I think, in this game, Joe. Quinn Ewers starts fast. Since coming back from that injury, he hasn't been able to do that. Against Oklahoma, an interception on the first drive, started slow against Georgia, and then a pick on their first drive against Vanderbilt the last time out. It's not just in this game, Joe. I think it's for the rest of the season. They need Quinn Ewers to play well sooner in games.
Florida dealing with a lot of injuries, not just the big headliner at quarterback, but we'll get into the defensive backfield as well as they quickly get it to Moore. And DeAndre Moore charges ahead with a good gain to open up the game. So let's look at our impact players, Jesse.
Well, taking a look at the impact players and starting with Texas's offense, there's a lot of guys that can get the ball. Quintravion Wisener, very good running inside and outside. Isaiah Bond, back from an injury, is massive for them on 3rd downs and down the field. Tyreek Sapp, Florida's been their best D-lineman all year. And Triquez Bridges is a guy, his versatility playing safety and cornerback will be big in this game, considering the injuries they have on the back end.
Including starting quarter Devin Moore, who is out, who had an interception back-to-back games. 10 yards from Moore. So a quick first down for Texas. Ewers gets it complete again to DeAndre Moore.
Well, they put Isaiah Bond in motion, and that quick motion at the end of the play here, you see how it just opens up a big space over the middle of the field for DeAndre Moore to go to work in the slot. Really nice play design using motion. I think Steve Sarkisian, the best in the country when it comes to using motion in his offense.
And that frees up a guy like DeAndre Moore to do his business. 2 receptions, 22 yards. Play action. Ewers, a lot of time to think about it, and gets it complete to Helm, his outstanding tight end. 3 for 3 to start the game is Quinn Ewers.
Well, Quinn Ewers is going to be trying to take advantage of a Florida defense that is really banged up, especially at cornerback. Down their top 3 corners, and Dijon Johnson, their 4th corner, is dealing with a shoulder injury. He's limited.
3 plays, 3 first downs, and Wisner takes it ahead inside the 30-yard line, so tackled by Bridges.
And so, Joe, you got to wonder for Texas's offense if there's more of an opportunity to take shots deep down the field because of those injuries, and also getting Isaiah Bond back in the lineup with his speed and his ability to run by people. That could be huge. You got to, Quinn Ewers only has 2 completions of 30 or more air yards on the season. It's been a big thing that's been missing, but getting that guy back right there, the Alabama transfer, I think changes the dynamic for the Longhorns.
He missed the game against Vandy, Isaiah Bond. 2nd down and 4. Here's Ewers. He goes underneath, the shallow cross complete to Davis for another first down for Texas.
It's a really nice job and a good decision on the progression that time for Ewers, because they're trying to hit the running back on the wheel route, not there. Quickly get it out of your hand and help move these chains.
Quick to the line. You see the start for Ewers. Can't do better than that. Wisner with blockers in front kept his balance and makes his way inside the 20-yard line.
If you're going to play running back for Texas, you have to be able to catch the ball, and Wisner and Blue catch a lot of those swing routes, Joe. Basically an extension of a sweep play, right? Letting them get out in space, blockers out in front, and go to work.
Wisner on the ground on 2nd and 3. Breaks what would have been a tackle for loss, but then when he reverses field, he is taken down immediately that time.
It was Cameron James, number 24, did a great job being disruptive up front for the Gators right here. He's going to slip inside. You see some movement, little twist inside the D-tackle position. Doesn't make the tackle, but he makes the play.
And then Bryce Thornton was able to track him down. So it goes for a loss of 7. And all of a sudden, it's 3rd down and 10. And you can see on the near sideline, Texas wanting to take a timeout. So Coach Sark and Quinn Ewers will talk it over, facing a 3rd and 10 on their opening drive when we return to Austin. Back here on a beautiful day in Austin, this dynamic city, and their Longhorns, of course, beloved by that guy, Matthew McConaughey, here to see the number 5 Horns try to get to 8-1. They got a 3rd down and 10 they're facing.
The problem Texas's offense has had in recent weeks has been protecting Quinn Ewers. They've given up 11 sacks these last 2 games. Gators right now have their best pass rushers on the field.
He's 5 for 5 on this opening drive. He's hit 4 different receivers. 3rd down and 10. Pressure, and they get to him. That was T.J. Searcy with the sack of Quinn Ewers.
Well, Florida runs another game. This time it wasn't on the inside like we saw with Cameron James. This time it's coming from the outside, and it's Searcy looping in. Texas is not able to pass this off. Their right guard, DJ Campbell, can't get to it, and that is a big negative play, back-to-back negative plays now, by this resurgent Gator defense.
So that sends the veteran place kicker, Bert Auburn, out for the 51-yard attempt after the sack. And the Florida defense coming up with the TFL and then the sack pushes them out, and it's a missed field goal. Great job defensively by Florida.
Kind of got the feeling coming into this one, the Gators just wanted this game to get ugly. On defense, you're going to have to give up field goals, not touchdowns. You're probably going to have to get some turnovers, stop the run, offensively not turn it over, play field position, and then have to make a play on special teams somewhere. But that is an outstanding start by the Gators defense here.
And that's been one of the big stories, the improvement of this defense. And now here's the big story of the day. Aiden Warner's the starting quarterback. He was a late bloomer in Orlando in high school, so he goes up to play for Tony Reno at Yale and New Haven. A little homesick, things didn't quite work out, tears his ACL, comes back home to Florida, gets to them, and progresses to the point where last week he was called into action when DJ Lagway went down with a hamstring injury. And now the first start of your college career as a redshirt freshman comes here at Texas. Quickly gets it out into space to Mizell, who makes the first man miss and then is able to gain about 4 yards.
Well, a lot of pressure, I think, for the Gators coaching staff to help the redshirt freshman get into a rhythm. And how do you do that? Well, you got to run the ball, and you got to do what you just saw. High percentage throws, get some completions early, get him feeling a little bit confident here. Easier said than done, though, going up against one of the best defenses in the country in Texas, arguably the best, and playing in this loud stadium with this great crowd.
Second and 5. Ball will get the carry. Ball goes straight ahead, and it's going to be a first down Florida. The talented true freshman running back Ball.
Yeah, true freshmen don't look like him. He's 235 pounds, and he is physical. He can shake tacklers, run through people. And, Joe, I think his big game a few weeks ago where he had 5 rushing touchdowns against Kentucky, I think that really helped his confidence. He now believes that he is an elite back in this league.
Senior Montrell Johnson's been dealing with an injury, but Ball has been coming on strong. This time he is tackled for a loss. That Texas front was ready for him. Well, this is what happened last week. The star freshman quarterback DJ Lagway against Georgia hit the 43-yard touchdown to Aiden Mizell. They were looking good, and then midway through the second quarter, that was just awkward. And then he was carted off the field with a hamstring injury.
Yeah, a lot of people wonder what would have happened had he been able to stay in the game. But without Lagway, the Gators lose the deep ball, explosive plays. Lagway, one of the most accurate deep ball throwers in the country. We'd also seen more quarterback runs the last 4 games. So what does the offense look like now?
Second and 12. Warner's going to throw back as he tries to go back to his tight end, Boardingham. Threw it a little bit behind him, and immediately Trey Moore was there to make it happen.
UTSA transfer. What a great job of awareness. He's lining up over Boardingham here at the top of the play. He sees this coming from a mile away. He's not going to stop his pass rush. When he sees Boardingham reach out, he just puts on the brakes, and he goes to make a big stop and now sets up 3rd and long, and here comes the crowd.
They want to try to stay on schedule, play small ball for Aiden Warner, who gets to start at quarterback. Instead, it's a 3rd and 15 on their opening drive. Four-man rush, actually 3-man rush as they drop into coverage. Shallow cross as they keep it conservative with DK. And DK able to get some yardage back, but punt team will be coming on the field.
Yeah, I like the idea by the Gators going empty to try to spread out the defense and make the picture a little cleaner that time for Warner, but give Texas and their D coordinator Pete Kwiatkowski a lot of credit. That was a good call. They dropped 8 in coverage that time. Everybody in a big zone. Everyone's got their eyes on the ball and are able to rally to DK to make the stop.
Jeremy Crawshaw out to punt. Had a career-high 8 punts last week against Georgia. Cyrus Bolden is the return man for Texas. As Crawshaw looking to pin this inside the 10. It checks up just short of the 10-yard line, and that is where Texas will take over. Quinn Ewers, 5 for 5 to start the day. Let's see what he offers up when Texas is back on offense.
ABC College Football is presented by Tums Gummy Bites. Get fast relief of occasional heartburn. use as directed. In part by Taco Bell and State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Jesse, I always love seeing these photos from around the globe, right? It's time of the year we're going to salute our nation's veterans, past and present, but these photos especially that we just showed you with the courageous soldiers around the world showing off their school pride.
So important. It's a great opportunity to say thank you to all those who serve and their families for the sacrifices they make on our behalf.
Of course, this stadium, Texas Memorial Stadium, DKR, is dedicated to veterans of all wars. Quinn Ewers, that was thrown deep into the inside of Isaiah Bond, his first incompletion of the day, and he was wide open.
The Gators are lucky that that throw was off track because Cormani McClain, the Colorado transfer, he fell down. And if Bond catches this in stride, this is a touchdown. Beats him on the outbreaking route. You see right there, but it's behind him. You don't see Quinn Ewers miss often that badly. Gators defense, very fortunate.
And McClain was the former five-star who went to go play for Coach Prime at CU and now is at Florida. Ewers, that was denied. What a great job of getting back into coverage from George Gums.
Yeah, George Gums is faking like he's rushing, and he fools Quinn Ewers in a zone drop. He's going to be playing over here. Looks like he's coming this way. Then gets back in traffic, and that ball almost gets picked off. Nice job mixing up the looks in man and zone coverage by Ron Roberts, the co-DC.
This Florida front seven is very talented.
Yeah, they are. And right now, they're taking over at the line of scrimmage. Another big third down.
And they have gotten much better as the season has gone along. And here's a chance to get off the field for Florida. Third down and 10. Ewers looking for anything. A lot of traffic. And he's going to run, but he's going to dive and be just a yard short of the line to gain.
That's just a fantastic job in coverage that time by the Gators because they've got 7 guys playing zone. They've got 2 guys deep here. They're robbing the middle of the field, and everyone's got their eyes on Quinn Ewers. No one's able to rally and get open. And that was all Quinn Ewers could do, just get as much as he could. Fourth down, and the offense still on the field, Joe.
They're at their own 24-yard line, Jesse. Fourth down and 1 at their own 24-yard line.
You got to be thinking they're going to try to go hard count here, just try to get a cheap one.
Watch that play clock. No, they're running it 4th and 1. And that surge by Gibson, the true freshman, after the initial part of that run was stopped. It was Sapp who was pulling him back, but that was a 4th and 1 from their own 24.
They faked a jet sweep to the true freshman Mingo. They give it to Gibson, who's from Gainesville, Florida, and initially it looked like Florida had stopped him up front, but good physical running, and what a gamble early by Steve Sarkisian. Boy, that pays off.
And now they go end around with Bond. Isaiah Bond, the end around, and look at Bond! Turning it on, and a stiff arm for extra yardage.
This is just an insane amount of misdirection. You're faking a reverse, you're faking a handoff, and then watch the tight end right here inside 85, Gunnar Helm. He gets back outside to get a block downfield. And Isaiah Bond is already making a big impact now that he's back on the field. That was like fake reverse, fake handoff, reverse. I don't know if I've seen that on film this year.
A 44-yard run by Bond. Here is Blue, and he's tackled after just gaining a half a yard.
And Jack Pyburn, number 44, he deserves a lot of credit for the Gators' improvement on defense these last 4 games because they've gotten better against the run. You saw it right there. Being able to fight off of blocks and get guys on the ground. 30 tackles in his last 5 games coming into this one. He plays with great effort. Everything is a lot more secure and sound since he's been in the starting lineup.
2nd and 9. Looks left and then goes deep. Wide open and into the end zone is Matthew Golden.
And that such a great play design by Sarkisian. He does this over and over again. He sets things up. We've seen swing routes and fakes, and it makes everybody bite up here for the Gators in the secondary, and they're able to sneak Golden in the slot down the boundary for a touchdown. We've seen a couple swing routes to running backs early in this game. He's just setting you up. He's adding some window dressing, and they pop a big one.
Quinn Ewers, 6 completions, 82 yards, and that touchdown to Matthew Golden as Auburn nails the extra point. Florida's missing some DBs. Texas has got talent at receiver, and now they have a touchdown lead to open this game.
Going back and looking at this touchdown again, you're faking the swing here, which is going to force this defender to bite on it. The inside post freezes and holds the safety, and that allows Golden right here on the wheel route to be wide open. Really nice play design and setup by Sark.
Katie.
Yeah, Tess, Jess, an official came over to the Florida bench in between series, and he was talking to Aiden Warner. He was essentially warning him not to use too much body movement on his fake flaps. He said the only movement can come from your hands, not your arms or your chest.
That's Lee Hedrick, the SEC referee. I give him credit for just managing the situation before he has to call a penalty there. It's Warner's first college start.
It's true, yeah, that's a great point. And Katie, good point too. I mean, this is Warner's first start. He's a redshirt freshman. He's only been taking meaningful reps in practice for the last 3 weeks. These are all very coachable moments for him.
Came into the game against Georgia last week, and Lagway went out. Was 7 of 22 passing for 66 yards, threw an interception. Did have the game-time touchdown drive. And here he is, play action on first down. He wants to take a shot downfield, and it was well overthrown, looking for Jim DK. Michael Taft had covered.
Just because Warner's in the game doesn't mean this coaching staff is not going to be aggressive. Remember, his first snap against Georgia, they threw a go route. Now, with DJ Lagway in the game, you feel a lot better calling these shot plays because of his accuracy. But it's nice to see the Gators are not just going to run, pass, punt. They want to try to mix and match and find the right timing on when to take shots.
Play action on 2nd and 10. And that is incomplete, as that was well covered by Malik Muhammad.
All right, so we've talked about how the Gators had to try to keep these third downs manageable. It's the second time now in 2 drives. They're facing 3rd and long. Texas is going to roll out what they call their NASCAR package. Their 4 best pass rushers, Barron Sorrell, Trey Moore, Colin Simmons, and Anthony Hill. It's a big, tall task right now for this Gator offensive line, having to protect their redshirt freshman and dealing with this crowd noise.
By the way, they're without their starting right guard, Damian George, today. And there was a movement penalty.
False start on the offense, number 8. It's a 5-yard penalty, and it remains 3rd down.
Sportingham, the tight end. We mentioned the injuries, of course. Lagway's the headline maker, but these are all the offensive players who aren't available, and 2 very good receivers, Trey Wilson and Badger as well.
You're talking about your top 2 quarterbacks, your top running back, your top 2 receivers, and a starting right guard. It's next man up, but these guys have to step up. This is a very difficult situation here.
Third and 15. Jackson will get the carry, and Jackson, man, ball came out, and Texas has got it. It's Trey Moore. Trey Moore with the fumble recovery and the return.
I think it was Anthony Hill at linebacker and Alfred Collins who both converged on Jackson and knocked the ball free. Anthony Hill, one of the best inside linebackers in all of college football. His versatility is key, but watch Zero come in. He able to get his right hand in there. Number 95, Collins, was in it as well. And Trey Moore, the transfer from UTSA, who made a big play on the first drive of the game when they tried a tight end screen. He's Johnny on the spot, able to pick it up.
During the return, illegal block in the back on the intercepting team. That 10-yard penalty will be enforced from the spot of the foul. Texas will maintain possession of the ball. It will be 1st down.
And Joe, that turnover is just something that can't happen if you're the Gators. We said, look, if they're going to win ugly, you can't turn it over on offense and give Quinn Ewers and this explosive side of the ball extra possessions. Billy Napier knows that was a critical error.
You have to play clean and manage things if you want to get the task done today. Instead, the costly turnover that's just going to serve it up to this talented offense of Texas with Quinn Ewers, who's already 6 of 8, 82 yards and a touchdown here in this first quarter. So after the penalty on the fumble return, they start at the 22. Ewers. That is beyond the reach of Weisner.
This is an area for Florida's defense. You got to allow field goals, not touchdowns. And I think the one place Texas has improved offensively this year, Joe, is inside the red zone. Scoring touchdowns on 74% of their red zone possessions. They're lined up just 2 yards outside of it now. But you look last year, they were 121st in the country. This year, leading the SEC.
Meanwhile, Florida's defensive rate in the red zone is 15th in the SEC. Wide open is Helm for the touchdown. Gunnar Helm had nobody near him.
Well, the play fake froze middle linebacker Miles Graham. And Joe, you're right, there was nobody in the middle of the field. This fake here freezes him, and there's just a giant space and void over the middle. This is just too easy. That's an RPO. Quinn Ewers has the option to hand that off, but the look was perfect from the Gator defense. He gets it out of his hands quickly. That might be the easiest touchdown Gunnar Helm scores this year.
Extra point by Bert Auburn. And Billy Napier, well, he knows he's in a tough spot with this task tonight. And listen, we made so much all week long. Everybody's saying, is DJ Lagway going to play? DJ Lagway going to play? But for those of us that were in the weeds getting ready to broadcast this game, we were looking at the rest of the roster saying, oh man, they got to patchwork things, but especially with the defensive backfield.
Let's go through it again. 2 top quarterbacks, top running back, 2 top receivers, right guard, top 3 corners. This is next man up for the Gators right now. The good news is there's some inexperienced guys who are going to get a big opportunity here on a big stage, but you're not just playing anybody. You're playing the Texas Longhorns.
And I know a lot of people were getting excited when DJ Lagway was out there in warm-up saying, I think he's going to go. Is he going to go? Maybe he's going to go. No, they want to see if they can have him fresh for next week against LSU. They felt like it was a little bit of a reach to push him after being carted off the field with a hamstring injury a week ago. He went through some practice this week, Jess, but it wasn't the team stuff. He was doing the indie work.
Individual, probably not full speed either. Just trying to give him an opportunity. And yes, he came out here and he warmed up, but nowhere ready to go in this one. Other players, Joe, for the Gators now have to step up.
Here's Baugh on the return. Jaden Baugh tripped up near the 16-yard line. What do you say we say hello to Kevin Nagandi and Booger McFarland?
Good afternoon, Tess. Time now for our All-State check-in. Book number 4, Miami down 7-0 early to Georgia Tech, and here comes Cam Ward.
Trips, little confusion in the Georgia Tech secondary, and there's a hurricane on the loose in Atlanta, Kev.
Elijah Arroyo, 74 yards to the house, and the Canes on top, 10-7 over on ESPN. Back to you.
Man, I'll tell you, they are loaded at the skill positions because a guy like Elijah Arroyo for Miami takes a 74-yard touchdown.
They already have one of the best receiving groups in the entire country. Now you add Arroyo, who's been hurt the last couple of years, and they're virtually unstoppable throwing it.
So now a 2-touchdown deficit for Florida as Baugh takes the carry, and he goes ahead for 3 yards. Of course, it is a busy day of college football right here on ABC. The SEC on ABC continues. Number 3, Georgia taking on number 16. Ole Miss will be coming your way. And then tonight, Saturday Night Football presented by Capital One. It is always a classic when Alabama faces LSU.
I can't wait for Georgia and Ole Miss. Carson Beck, very talented, but he's thrown 3 picks in his last 2 games, going up against one of the best pass rushes in the country from Ole Miss.
2nd and 7. And his ball looks to bounce it, and it's a smart decision for a first down for the Gators.
He's got some wiggle to him for a guy that's 235 pounds, and he has the ability to bounce it outside. Joe, I was on the field pregame speaking to the great Emmitt Smith, Florida Gator great, NFL great. He was telling me he just loves how he has that little explosiveness to be able to take it outside. If there's no one out there and he sees the green grass, for a very big and physical back, he has some suddenness to him.
11-yard run there from Ball. Going to keep it on the ground with him. Into the boundary, not much there at all as he was tracked down immediately from Burke.
It's really hard to run inside against the Texas Longhorns. They've got a lot of big bodies. Alfred Collins, Jermaine Lollet, Vernon Broughton, who's missing the first half of this game because of a targeting foul against Vanderbilt. Big Bill Norton, a transfer from Arizona. Big bodies that eat up a lot of space and force running backs to have to go outside, where the speed at the second level, Joe, they can go pursue the ball and make plays.
Ball, nothing there. That was clogged up immediately. The third down and about 8.
I mean,
as Lole makes the tackle.
They're giving up 241 yards a game, Joe. Texas is best in the country. There is no weakness on this defense. D-line is big. They stop the run. The linebackers can run, rush the passer. DBs can tackle, and they're ball hawks on the back end. You cannot look at them on film, Joe, as an offense and go, you know what? We've got an advantage right here, because their roster is loaded in all 3 levels.
And they got such depth on that defensive line. Sark knows the kind of defensive line you have to win a national championship. They've got it now. 3rd down and 8. Warner gets it complete, but 3 yards shy of the line to gain as he connects with Marcus Burke.
Well, and that's a progression that Warner has got to be able to get through just a little bit faster. He's got Burke coming over and spotting up right in front of the ball. And I think if Warner gets it to him right away, maybe he has the opportunity to turn upfield and go get this first. But you see a little hesitation from the redshirt freshman, and that allows Texas to rally to the ball.
And as we come to the end of this first quarter, Quinn Ewers with 2 touchdown passes for Texas and a 14-zip lead. The SEC on ABC from here in Austin, presented by Tums Gummy Bites, returns after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
We're back in Austin on the sidelines with Billy Napier. Coach, 4th and 2 situation, what will you decide to do?
Well, no, I mean, I think so far in this game, we've had some opportunities. We've got them 3rd and 10. We got them 4th and 1 backed up. So, again, let the quarterback settle in a little bit. We got to wake up. That's what we got to do. So, ultimately here, we'll make the decision in the best interest of the team.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
As Billy Napier, the Florida AD, made the decision this week to announce that Coach Napier will return to coach the team next season. His quarterback, who he mentions needs to settle in, is Aiden Warner, getting a start, who has 4 completions for 15 yards as Crawshaw on to punt. And it goes inside the 10 and then bounces into the end zone as Rocco Underwood had a chance at it.
Well, when it comes to quarterback accuracy, footwork is important. Quinn Ewers no different. Early in the season, had really good footwork. This is their 2nd game against Michigan. You got a dig route on the outside. There's going to be some pressure. Ewers steps up, keeps his feet underneath him, and delivers a very accurate throw in a very tight window. But then when he came back from the injury against UTSA, this is the first drive against Oklahoma. Very similar concept. Check out Ewers' feet. His base is way too wide. Feet split apart. His left leg, the lead foot going to the left. He's wide open when he throws it, and it affects his accuracy. I think these last several weeks of practice, they've really been trying to focus with him on getting that base back underneath him, because it makes him so much more dangerous of a thrower when he's got good fundamentals.
Steve Sarkisian had a long talk with us yesterday about that. He loves the way he throws the ball when he's got that base set, as you pointed out so well. Jaden Blue is tackled by Johnson, and flag comes in.
Holding on the offense, number 78. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot with a replay of 1st down.
Well, the stats are obviously very, very different in his first 3 games versus his last 3 games. It is important to point out the last 3 games includes Georgia, a very, very good defense. But having watched him, Joe, on film from the second half against Georgia through the Vanderbilt game, he is playing a whole lot better. I know he threw 2 picks against Vanderbilt. Both picks were batted at the line of scrimmage. That happens to any quarterback, especially one who's 6'2", thrown from the pocket. I do think Quinn Ewers is back.
1st and 20 as he goes underneath the helm, and Helm is wrapped up immediately. It was good pursuit by that Florida front.
And that's McCray, L.J. McCray, the #1 ranked defensive end prospect coming out of high school. He's a guy that this coaching staff is really, really excited about moving forward. He's starting to get a little bit more run each and every game as he starts figuring things out. But we talk a lot about DJ Lagway on offense. Number 17 for the Gators is a guy that really needs to step up and be dominant rushing the passer in the future.
You see that frame on McCray, those long arms. He's 6'6", the true freshman. 2nd and 20. Ewers is going to throw away. So now an opportunity for the Florida defense to deliver.
This is really, really big now at this point to get off the field. Get the ball back to your offense at midfield. You have an opportunity here. And we've seen the Gators defense have some success with movement up front. So again, their best pass rushers on the field. TJ Searcy has a sack. Tyreek Sapp out there. George Gums. Cameron James. And I would expect to see some stunts and some twists to see if they can confuse Texas's O-line to get to Quinn Ewers.
Third and 20 for Ewers from inside the 5 as he's just going to check it down to Blue. And they will get a lot of those Florida Gators into that frame to make the tackle, and they'll be punting away.
And how about the pass rush inside? We just talked about Tyreek Sapp. He was one of our impact players in this game. He's been the most consistent. He literally threw Texas's right guard right back into the quarterback. Watch right here inside. He's going up against DJ Campbell. Just one hand shoves him. And Quinn Ewers had somebody in his lap, and all he could do to just spit it out to Jaden Blue. And this is exactly what the Gators defense needed now, forcing a punt. They're looking to have good field position.
By the way, Michael Kern, the Texas punter, has been dealing with a hamstring injury. It's a low snap that he has to field at the goal line. Jim DK falls for the fair catch just beyond midfield.
Trey Moore on defense for Texas has had a good one so far. The UTSA transfer has been everywhere. He's done a nice job in the run game, one unblocked, making plays in the backfield, 2 tackles for loss. This was a really nice play in awareness, reading the tight end screen, and then he picks up the loose ball on the fumble. This was a big get in the portal for Texas. This guy had 14 sacks a year ago at UTSA, and Joe does not have a sack this year yet, but that's not to say he hasn't had an impact. He has been very disruptive at times for this Texas defense. He's certainly been that in the first quarter of this game.
He recovered a fumble with a minute to go in the first half against Vandy. He comes up with the fumble recovery and return here in this game in Texas with a 2-touchdown lead. Aiden Warner in for DJ Lagway. Warner, play action. Downfield, wide open and complete to Jim DK. So there's Aiden Warner's first big moment.
And the play fake to Jackson froze everybody in the second level for Texas. I love the call on first down. Defense expecting a run. You're going to fake it here. All 4 of these guys get frozen. And DK on the deep cross over top, the transfer from Wisconsin, makes the big play. Aggressive play call. We've seen that early in this game by the Gators.
39-yard reception by DK. And a big confidence boost from Aiden Warner, the 3rd stringer turned starter. There is exactly where the lack of experience and the lack of reps comes into play.
Well, 2 bad things here. One, he turned the wrong way on the handoff. Everybody pulling from the right side going left, so that is definitely on Warner. The second part is he can't afford to get injured. I don't know how often the Gators want Warner running the ball or taking unnecessary hits like that. I guarantee you it's not very often, though.
He is split out wide as now Jaden Baugh is going to take the direct snap. Baugh Catches that seam, and he's inside the 10-yard line. Perhaps this is a package we will see more of today,
I think
Jesse.
they should. In the Kentucky game, he had his best runs down inside the 15-yard line. He's able to find creases and move the pile. He's that kind of guy that gets better as the game goes on. Obviously, Texas's front, not easy to run against, but Jaden Baugh is built to have success. Here's a moment now, if you're Aiden Warner on third down, you cannot take a sack and you cannot turn it over. If it's not open, this thing gets thrown away or it gets checked down. And that's something this coaching staff in his ear right now has to be reminding him.
Look at the play clock, and they're going to have to call a timeout. You could tell there was a struggle with communication between Billy Napier and Aiden Warner. And playing here at DKR, Texas Memorial Stadium, doesn't help any. 3rd and 4 when we return after the timeout. So here's Florida knocking on the door to score. Their last shutout back in October of 1988. So 456 consecutive games, an NCAA record of scoring. Meanwhile, you look at the history of these two teams. Well, they haven't scored on Texas in 100 years, Jess.
And you know the coaching staff took that opportunity at the timeout to remind Warner, if it's not open, throw it away or check it down.
Here's 3rd and 3. Ball. Tackled after only gaining a yard.
Alfred Collins, number 95 for Texas, does not cooperate with people's game plans, and he's been doing this all year. So disruptive up front inside, fighting through a double team and making this tackle. Watch this versus the center and the guard. 26 tackles on the year. To me, he's playing as well, if not better, than anybody up front for Texas this season.
So Trey Smack will come out for the short 25-yard attempt. Been solid in recent games. You see the flag comes in just before that field goal attempt.
False start on the offense, number 53. That's a 5-yard penalty, and it remains 4th down.
They're not going to have a problem with that. It's going to give them a more manageable angle, in fact. Remember, this all happened. They were put in position because of the 39-yard strike from Aiden Warner to Chim DK. Warner in this offense was struggling. There's the young man, the transfer from Yale, the unexpected starter for this big spot after the injury to DJ Lagway a week ago. These teams have only played now 4 times in history. And that is off the mark to the right. He missed a 30-yard field goal. So the record that we were citing of the shutout going all the way back to 1988 of the 100 years against Texas. Well, guess what? Century later, and they still haven't scored against Texas.
It's a big blown opportunity, and Billy Napier knows it too. Your defense did a great job forcing a 3-and-out, getting it back at midfield. You hit the big shot to DK. When this offense, with all of the injuries, are in position to score points, they have to be able to come away with them.
He said it yesterday. What's it going to take to win? Got to run the ball really well. Yep. You got to play ahead of the sticks. Yep. You got to play clean. You can't give up the fumble they already gave up and give points away. And the kicking game has to be superb.
Generally, Florida is great at. Their punter, Crawshaw, and kicker, Smack, that's one of the best punter-kicker combinations, not just in the SEC, but in the country.
So Texas takes over. Ewers is going to check down to Wisner, and Wisner was met right away and then surges ahead for a couple of yards.
Yeah, this defense is going to have to keep playing hard throughout the course of the game, and you're going to see a lot of fresh bodies. As you see Big Cam Jackson coming out of the game now, they'll rotate up to 14 different D linemen, 8 different linebackers. They might play 5 or 6 different DBs. And it's not just because of injuries, they're just constantly trying to get fresh bodies on the field to play fast.
2nd and 8, Wisner unable to turn that corner as he's taken down by Shamar James.
Their defense has gotten so much better the last 4 games. I think it's a combination of things too, Joe. Better stopping to run, not giving up explosive plays. They've gotten 8 turnovers in the last 3 games. When it rains, it pours. The Gators have been very fortunate in that regard, and it's what gives You see Ron Roberts, their co-DC, who came over from Auburn in the offseason. It's given this defense a lot more confidence.
Veteran defensive coordinator. 3rd down and 7 for Ewers. That was too easy to Isaiah Bond. 1st down, Longhorns.
Well, it's another good play design here by Sark. This time in the slot, you're running a flat, and that's going to hold the corner, which allows Bond to work the corner up top. Steve Spurrier used to call this route a Lonnie route, Joe, back in the day for the Gators.
No, it worked. Coach is here, by the way. Going to take a shot and going to land it. DeAndre Moore drops it at the end. He was wide open and couldn't put it away.
They went with the double move with Moore on the inside. He was just running a seam. He stuck right up on the safety, Castell. And this has been one of their biggest playmakers at the receiver position, especially since Bond has been out, making plays vertically. That's just one on the double move he's got to be able to make.
Short pitch to Blue. And Blue takes it ahead out to about the 47-yard line.
Well, you just see all the different ways in Sark's offense that he's trying to freeze the defense. This time, Quinn Ewers is going to take it and flash a handoff this way just to try to get guys to freeze for a split second before going back the other way. You always have to be so good with your eyes defensively and the eye discipline when you're playing against this Texas offense, because there's a lot of different ways that Steve Sarkisian's trying to fool you.
Third down and 5. Ewers. That was overthrown. It was Moore the intended target again.
That's crazy, because that was a harder, much harder throw for Quinn Ewers than the one that Moore dropped before. Split safety looked that time by the Gators, and they got Moore running right down the pipe. Deep ball accuracy has been a bit of an issue this year for Quinn Ewers. On balls that travel more than 6 air yards downfield coming into this game, Quinn Ewers only completing 52% of those passes. The vertical passing game and those deep shots, we were talking about at the start of the game, that's got to get better for Texas.
Michael Kern, who's top 5 in the nation in punting average, out to punt away for Texas. Jim DK hoping to have a chance. Right now he's pinning heels at the 10-yard line. And he's going to call for the fair catch at the 17. Magnificent tower here. 307-foot main building on campus. A beautiful Austin.
ABC College Football, presented by Tums Gummy Bites, is brought to you by USAA. Let's honor those who served this Veterans Day.
Hi, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Gabriel Paulian. I'm part of the 125th Fighter Wing. I want to give a shout out to all the vets today. Go Gators.
Lieutenant Colonel right now hoping his offense can come down the field against these Horns as we continue saluting all our nation's veterans.
Joe, we've seen in recent drives the Gators play action, taking shots on 1st down. If that continues here.
Aiden Warner, play action, being chased. Sidearms it, nearly had an opportunity with DK, but it goes incomplete. Katie.
Yeah, Tess, after the Georgia loss, Aiden Warner went around the locker room and he apologized to his teammates one by one. He was very upset and felt responsible for the missed opportunity. Jack Pyburn said you could tell how much Warner cared. Both his parents are Florida alums. He grew up a fan, and it fueled his motivation going into this week of practice. But he's got to find something here to ignite this offense.
He's facing a 2nd and 10 here. Billy Napier, Katie, said, I'm really proud of Aiden. You know, he's got a lot of confidence. He's going to continue to get better. You think about just a few weeks ago, the guy standing around eating ice cream. He said, now he's the starting quarterback at Texas. 2nd and 10. And it's only a yard gain there. Colin Simmons with the tackle.
Well, the thing is, Joe, there's a huge learning curve for him, obviously, right? Again, only a redshirt freshman, 3 weeks of meaningful reps in practice. So he's still learning the offense, but there's a learning curve for the coaching staff, too, because they don't know much about him. They've got to figure out, hey, what passing concepts does he like? What can he execute? what can he not execute that maybe that we were doing with Graham Mertz or DJ Lagway? So it goes both ways, and I think in a lot of ways the coaching staff really has had to go back to zero, to the beginning in the playbook, to try to find out what gives them the best chance.
They're 0 for 4 on third down, and now Warner's facing a 3rd and 9. And that was nearly blown up, and then chased out for a loss was Tank Hawkins, their speedy true freshman. Anthony Hill, who you've been raving about, was right on it.
Yeah, Anthony Hill is one of the best inside linebackers in the country. He's the heart and soul of this defense, and his versatility is what truly makes him unique. He's got so much speed, and you saw it right there. He can tackle in space, he can get to the ball, he can rush the passer on third down. He was the #1 rated inside linebacker coming out of high school last year, and he's tracking to be a first-round pick in 2 years.
Third punt already of this first half for Jeremy Crawshaw. Cyrus Bolden's going to have a chance for a very good return field position, as this is a sky hanger that is fielded at about the 35, and then Bolden tries to reverse course, and he does. And it's a good return for Texas. Taco Bell Live Más student section. Of course, all season long, student sections across the country are competing to be the Taco Bell Live Más student section of the year. You can download the Taco Bell app to learn more. Can I just say this? What a great place to go to school. You come here to Austin, you are living it.
Dude, this is, in my opinion, this is one of the best cities in the country. And what I think is so great about conference expansion is that Gator fans and this team get to come to Austin, and they get to see a football game in one of the best venues that our sport has to offer. These fans are tremendous. Very few places that are better to watch than DKR Stadium at Memorial Field.
And forget the circumstances with Florida when you say the enthusiasm with these fans, as Ewers is going to throw back here and get a good look with Wisner, and here goes Wisner inside the 10 and reaching for the goal line. Touchdown, Texas. Wisner took it all the way. Little check down from Ewers. He goes for 55 yards with it.
Just a phenomenal job of misdirection again. We've seen it so many different ways in the play calling by Steve Sarkisian, and they just showed you a different way that time. Pulling linemen, rolling Quinn Ewers out one way, throwing it back to Wisner, who does the rest. Taking a look at this again, you're pulling Hayden Connor, the left guard here, this way. Ewers going that way. The whole defense is going that way. They forget about Wisner. Nice job downfield getting a block by Cole Hudson. And Texas, Bevo, they are rolling here in Austin.
Reporting live from a solar eclipse, that be me, performing the...
This season, All-State will celebrate every field goal and extra point made by participating universities by making a donation to the university's General Scholarship Fund. We thank All-State for that. Texas is adding to that total on this magnificent day here in Austin. They have a 21-0 lead over Florida. Jaden Ball on the return for the Gators. They could use a spark in the return game. Not going to find it there. What's going on, Kevin?
It's AT&T keeping fans connected as we take a look at our multi-view, which is showcasing a bunch of great games across our networks. Look at that box in the left corner at the top. That is Georgia Tech back on top over number 4 Miami. That game over on ESPN. Navy running all over USF and Tampa on ESPN2, and Texas State in control over on ESPNU. Touch Jesse and Katie, back to you.
Thank you very much. It'll be fascinating to monitor that Miami game.
Well,
today.
I feel like they got them right where they want them, right? Because you've seen Miami get behind against Cal and Virginia Tech. They were tied in the fourth quarter with Louisville. Down in our game last week against Duke, and then it's that offense. It's the onslaught that you're just expecting to have happen in the second half.
So very little stress from Bevo. And took that shot of him as his team is up 21-0 right now. Warner is going to go underneath to Jackson. Jackson's going to turn that corner and get a first down. You were in the midst of a conversation before we were interrupted that by spectacular touchdown by Texas about the Florida fans traveling to this game and the new conference expansion. immediately, the moment that this was scheduled, Florida fans were like, are you kidding me?
Oh, I know.
We get a road trip to Austin.
I flew over with all of them. I mean, they were so excited. They've had this game circled all year long, and it's fans that get an opportunity to come here and go to Norman, Oklahoma. It's just great for the fans of the SEC.
Flag comes in after Jackson's run brings it out to the 35-yard line. And two brands, I mean, two blue blood brands that just never play each other. And as we told you, the series goes back to 1924, but they played in 1924, 1939, and then the last time prior to today that Florida and Texas played was 1940.
Personal foul, illegal block below the waist on the defense number 3. That 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run, and it carries an automatic first down.
Yeah, Jalen Gilbo that time for Texas. He actually took out Austin Barber, who was pulling that time for the Florida Gators up front. That's the penalty that was called. This is a big moment, too, for the Gators, Joe, to have to respond. Like, you have to score points. With about 5 minutes to go here at the end of the half, something's good has got to happen. The Gators are going to get the ball back first here in the second half, but this is a big moment now, especially after that penalty right at midfield. One way or another, they've got to be able to come away with something.
Remember, Graham Mertz, the original starting quarterback this year, out for the season. DJ Lagway, the #1 recruit in the country, who's been playing great, carted off the field with a hamstring injury last week. So here's Aiden Warner. Was the number 3, now he's the starter. Warner being chased. And Warner will throw it away right into that show band of the Southwest.
I think the Gators are going back to the well a little bit too often now, and Texas is anticipating what's coming. It's a play-action fake on first down. Jim DK running a deep cross, and they got burned by it a few drives ago, but Texas now is dialed in. And I think that goes back again to the volume of offense you can carry with the redshirt freshman at quarterback, right? You don't have the amount of plays and looks to try and confuse Texas. It's a limited package of concepts that you have to run over and over and over.
Jackson on 2nd and 10. Across this midfield is met at the 45-yard line, be 3rd and 5.
And so now on 3rd down for the Gators at receiver, who can get open and who can win one-on-one? Remember, Eugene Wilson, done for the season, has hip surgery. He's their best route runner and most sudden receiver. Elijah Badger, their best deep threat and fastest receiver, he's out in this game with an injury as well. So you've got Tank Hawkins, a true freshman out there. There's a lot of inexperienced guys that are talented, but who up front can win in a one-on-one situation and be a viable option for Warner?
Third and 5. And they're going to get it on the ground with Jacoby Jackson.
Why throw it when you can just do that then, right? And we saw down in the red zone the last drive as well, down in tight on 3rd down, doing the same thing. They're pulling bodies from the front side here. Bryce Lovett, the right guard, getting Arliss Boardingham into the mix as well. And the JUCO transfer Jackson, nice hard running between the tackles.
And that's their first 3rd down conversion today.
I think you're just looking for little wins.
That's right. Now, if you got to stack them right now.
Yeah, and it's whatever you can do. Just gain a little bit of confidence.
And no self-inflicted wounds. Remember, they had that costly fumble earlier in this first half. You got to play clean. Got to try to find a break. Jackson, as he goes ahead and brings it to the 32-yard line.
It's the exact same play that they just ran to convert that first down. And a nice job by Austin Barber at left tackle to pin a Texas D lineman inside. Give the Gators some space with Jackson.
Under 3 minutes till halftime. We'll hear from Kevin and Booger. Get us up to speed on everything happening with Miami and Georgia Tech and the rest of the country. But for now, can Florida break through and get on the board? Warner, he's going to be sacked. Brought down by Trey Moore.
And that's Trey Moore's first sack of the season. And there's a mismatch. You've got a D lineman coming off the edge up against Jacoby Jackson, a running back right here. He's trying to block this one-on-one. Moore's able to make the play. This is what you saw time and time again throughout his career at UTSA. He just bulldozes him backwards, and he's able to get to the quarterback. Curious to know here, Joe, if the Gators decide to run it again. At this area of the field just outside the 30, are you in 4-down territory if you're Billy Napier? You've seen them run it on 3rd down. Do you run it here, and if you don't get it, you try again?
Play clock counting down. And a timeout is going to be used. We also have the 2-minute timeout set to come up in a moment, but it'll be a timeout used by Florida. And a 3rd down and 4 coming off of it. Built for Success, presented by Ram Trucks.
And we've seen the creativity by Steve Sarkisian in this game on offense. All the misdirection, fake reverse, fake handoff, reverse to Isaiah Bond for an explosive play early in the game. Later, you're going to fake a swing pass outside to Wisner, a little pump fake. Gator secondary bites on it, and you get Golden in the back end for a touchdown on the last drive, too, here. We're pulling a guard. We're rolling out Quinn Ewers to the right. We're throwing it back to Wisner in the flat. He's able to go do the rest. The eye candy that this offense gives defenses is just such a problem. You have to play with such good eye discipline. And for a Gators defense, Joe, that really has played at a high level in their last 4 games, they have had their hands full in this one. They're giving up a lot of explosive plays.
And 52 yards on this drive does Florida. They had 73 in the entire first half prior to it. 3rd and 4 off the timeout. Warner trying to extend the play, and he throws it incomplete, but a flag is down back at the 41-yard line.
I think they're going to get their left tackle, Austin Barber, for holding. Maybe hands to the face.
Holding on the offense, number 58. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot with a replay, 3rd down.
Well, we talked earlier about the Gators having the #1 DN coming out of high school in L.J. McCraig. Texas has a pretty good one, too, in Colin Simmons. That time, just too much speed off the edge for the Gators.
A 2-minute timeout has arrived. Florida trying to break through still here at Texas. This is one of the most wild pop culture pairings you'll ever see, Jesse.
Matthew McConaughey and The Undertaker together. That's unbelievable.
Hey, Taker's going to be coming up to the booth, by the way. I just saw him off to the side. I think he wants to tombstone pile drive everybody on the crew a little later on. We'll see what goes down. But he's a huge supporter of the Horns. So here's the 3rd and 14 after the penalty and a 2-minute timeout for Aiden Warner and the Gators. Pressure on the young quarterback, and he goes down. They came after him, and Jalen Gilbo just wrecked Aiden Warner.
And Warner never saw the blitz coming. They're in an empty set, and they've got their center and their right guard covered right here inside, which means if this guy comes from the outside, Aiden Warner is hot. He was never even looking to the right side to check out his protection. He was hoping to take a shot on the corner route, but that's just a redshirt freshman mistake. And Gilbo on the blitz comes up with a big negative play.
You think about the challenges of this Florida offense today. This gives us a chance to go to the studio to Kevin.
Test Capital One halftime report minutes away. Booger McFarland, Kevin Nagandi here in studio. Number 3, Ohio State off to a fast start. Highlights coming away. Meanwhile, number 4, Miami trailing, and Boog's not panicking right now yet. We'll show you the highlights of that one against Georgia Tech. Right now, Quinn Ewers 3 touchdown passes in the first half.
No doubt. There's an old saying in football, don't play with your food. And right now, Texas is not doing it. They clearly are outmanning Florida. Can they continue? And it's good to see Ewers playing well early.
We'll see you at the half test.
Look forward to that. Crawshaw gets the punt away. And it goes into the end zone. But we were saying, listen, you got to go all the way back to 1988, the last time that Florida was shut out. They have the record of consecutive scoring, 456 consecutive games, but they got real challenges offensively in front of them today.
Yeah, no doubt about it, with so many key players down at key positions. And again, it just comes down to taking advantage of opportunities that they've been given. There's been a long history of great offense at this school. There's no doubt about it, through Steve Spurrier and Urban Meyer onward, and it looks like it may be in jeopardy today. Still a lot of football to go.
Quinn Ewers, 3 touchdown passes today. Matthew Golden, as he is wrestled out of bounds.
I'm curious to know what the thought process is here for Texas and how aggressive they want to be in this 2-minute situation. 1 timeout in their back pocket. Quinn Ewers, though, has looked pretty good, especially throwing it down the field. They've been able to free up some guys in the second level of this Gator defense, and it wouldn't surprise me if they just put the foot on the pedal here a little bit. Give Ewers a chance.
This is Blue out of the backfield. Jaden Blue makes a man miss, revs that engine, and here he goes. Man, what a play from Jaden Blue.
They love to get Jaden Blue out in space, and it's one-on-one between him and Derek Wingo at middle linebacker. As soon as I think Quinn Ewers saw Blue go in motion, he saw Wingo follow him, he knew that's where he was going with the football, but there is a flag down on the play.
Right at midfield.
There is no foul for holding on the offense. The result of the play is a first down.
You're seeing the open field running ability there by Blue as well. I don't know if another offense throws as many swing routes as Texas does, but when you've got running backs like Wisner and like Blue that can make people look silly out in space, why not?
It was a 45-yard reception. I think they were given a look at Isaiah Bond, the wide receiver number 7, who did a good job blocking downfield, but they picked up that penalty flag. So here's Texas looking to add to their lead. Still that timeout, 90 seconds until we get it to halftime. Ewers, he couldn't find that pocket with the coverage downfield. He was looking for Blue.
You know, a guy that's had a big impact coming back from injury for Texas's offense has been Isaiah Bond. We've seen him on a reverse. We've seen him on some big catches on 3rd down as well. And his suddenness and his speed and his route running ability is just such a big weapon for Texas. You just wonder how many looks does he get now here in this area of the field at the end of the half?
Play action for Ewers on 2nd and 10 to the end zone. Waiting for it and bringing it in is Matthew Golden.
Really nice job putting air under the ball that time by Quinn Ewers. And the Houston transfer Golden did a great job tracking it. This was not an easy catch. He had to turn around, fight back for it. A little bit of a bobble, maybe. He's got it secured in the left hand. That absolutely is a touchdown.
Quinn Ewers has 4 touchdown passes in this first half, Jesse.
And vertically, and throwing it down the field as well. There have been explosives on some of these swing routes. We've seen that. But what I love seeing is them attacking deep down the field on plays like what we just saw. It's been a missing element for Texas's offense here in recent weeks.
20 straight games that he has thrown a touchdown pass as Quinn Ewers. Steve Sarkisian says he could tell this week everybody was just anxious to get back out there to perform. And that's exactly what you can tell. They've come out, they've been sharp from the start against this undermanned Florida team that is now in a massive hole. Auburn adds to 28-0. And Jesse, to your point of going downfield, that was the 7th Texas play over 20 yards.
Yeah, they've got Gunnar Helm here on the outside. He's a tight end. This post is going to occupy the safety, and then here's Golden running the switch wheel. And just a simple route concept that splits those 2 defenders for the Gators, and that was wide open. Nice job by Golden, too, coming back, making a fantastic grab. Progressive pylon always there to give you a good look as well. Getting it secured in the left arm. Really, Joe, all first half, this Texas offense, man, they have been up and down the field. We talked about Quinn Ewers. Is he back after the injury? Oh, you guys, he's back. I think he's been back since the second half of Georgia.
Georgia came out roaring that day here at DKR, and then Texas scored a couple touchdowns in that 3rd quarter, made it a possession game. ETN put Georgia up for good, but you could tell that was a tone changer there in that second half. They went on the road at Vanderbilt against an extraordinarily gritty and well-coached Vandy team and tried to rally back late against Texas. The bye week, and now this level of performance.
Joe, let's go back and let's get your grade on this touchdown celebration dance by Quinn Ewers and company.
Let's see. Well, clearly Connor, they've worked on it. Caden Connor.
Yep. All right. Fleet of foot, I suppose, by the offensive lineman.
Jake Majors, the center, was involved there, too. They have an incredibly close relationship, Ewers and Majors.
I mean, just watching that, you know now the oblique is fine.
Oh, it's totally fine.
The injury
I mean, you're going to go Three Stooges like that. You know you got to go to...
I mean, why not? Look at these numbers Quinn Ewers is putting up so far here in the first half.
257 yards, 4 touchdowns. And then on the other side, just such limitations with what they're dealing with offensively. Aiden Warner, a guy who wasn't around for spring practice. He tore his ACL in his final week of practice when he was playing at Yale a year ago. Jaden Ball with a good run of 11 yards. And then he comes back, starts getting reps in August. But at that point, Graham Mertz is the starting quarterback. DJ Lagway is the star incoming freshman. You're just not getting much work.
No, and he came back and actually beat out scholarship quarterbacks to put himself in position to get this chance.
And here is Warner. And that ball is intercepted. It's turning into that kind of a first half for Warner.
It was tipped by Alfred Collins, who did a great job getting his big paws up in the air to deflect this throw. Really nice awareness.
And Ty Anthony Smith, the true freshman from Jasper, Texas.
The senior Collins, he reads this. Look at his eyes. He knows he's not going to get home, but he gets the left hand on it. It gets deflected. And a big interception on the back end. Ty Anthony Smith, the true freshman out of Jasper, Texas now, gives Quinn Ewers the football back here at about the 35-yard line, and that is their 13th interception, most in the SEC.
So Texas gets the ball at the 45-yard line with just under a minute to play, with still the one timeout. Ewers with time, and he's going to connect and get it to Bolden, and Bolden is going to look for a block, and he's able to turn the corner at extra yardage with 48 seconds remaining.
Quinn Ewers throws such a catchable ball. He throws a softball. It's not to say he doesn't have velocity when he needs it, but Andrew Luck used to throw passes like this. Deshaun Watson threw passes like this. You just don't see a lot of Texas receivers drop Quinn Ewers passes. He really is a pure passer of the football.
Ewers, 4 touchdowns. Do we hear 5? He was juggling it, and they are ruling that incomplete.
Is an incomplete pass, second down.
DeAndre Moore never had firm control as he went out the back of the end zone.
It's the second time he's won on a double move, and maybe it's the second time that he drops a big touchdown or a big play. There's just too much bobble here. It goes off his face mask. He never has control of it fully, while that left foot, I think, is still in the end zone.
If he secures it right there at the first moment, it's a touchdown with plenty of room to spare.
No.
Gave it a few more juggles, but just never could get it. But they get this inside the 10. Jaden Blue, 1st and goal, Texas.
Well, they're able to get Jaden Blue out of the backfield on an angle route against the linebacker. That time it was Pup Howard. These running backs have had such an impact in the passing game this season.
Blue on the run. Blue into the end zone. Touchdown, Horns. They've been hooking them all day long.
The outside zone play is the bread and butter for Texas's offensive line, and that time, right guard DJ Campbell does a really nice job here, working and then getting into the second level, climbing off of a double team and getting a block. And give Blue a lot of credit. He's patient when he sees the crease. He gets north, and Texas continues to add insult to injury here at the end of the first half.
We said for Florida to have any chance or to just feel like they're competitive in the game, they had to play clean. A fumble was returned and set up a touchdown. An interception just moments ago. And with that, all of a sudden, it's 35-0. And now if you're Billy Napier, you got to sit back and say, all right, how do we want to simply approach this thing for the rest of the day?
Well, I think you're going to learn a lot about your football team here, obviously, and how they respond to adversity here in the second half. And I know we're talking about the Gators' struggles and the injuries and what the quarterback situation is, too. You got to give Texas a lot of credit as well, especially on offense, because this Gator defense was playing at a very high level in their last 4 games against Tennessee, against Kentucky with the takeaways, against Georgia with 3 interceptions. Quinn Ewers has been outstanding throwing the football. Wisner and Blue running it, catching out of the backfield, getting Isaiah Bond back has been big. We've seen explosive plays in the passing game. The Texas offense is also executing at an extremely high level. And at the top of the show, Joe, we talked about this stretch now starting the championship rounds of the fight. If Texas plays like this week in, week out, watch out.
At Arkansas, Kentucky, and then the rivalry game with A&M. Hey, tomorrow it's Sunday NFL Countdown. Hannah Storm will sit down with Steelers quarterback Russell Wilson. That's 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN. Then Monday Night Football is in L.A., and it's the Dolphins and the Rams, and coverage will begin with Monday Night Countdown at 6 p.m. Beautiful day here in Austin. Quinn Ewers, 4 touchdown passes. Texas with 354 total yards, just 130 for Florida. There's the one random Rams fan here at DKR.
Always a rando Rams fan, Joe.
As Aiden Warner in this offense look to regroup and get this to half. Jacoby Jackson with the carry. 3 touchdowns for Texas in that second quarter. Capital One halftime report is still to come after these messages and a word from our ABC stations. Number 5 team in the country is absolutely rolling here at home. Joe Tessitore, Jesse Palmer, Katie George with you. It is 35-0 Texas as Quinn Ewers with 4 touchdown passes today. They look razor sharp, Jesse. It has been a near flawless day here in... Oh, boy.
Okay.
Okay, well, things have changed now.
I just dislocated my neck.
Takeover. Hello.
Guys.
Undertaker.
Welcome to God's 40 acres.
The Undertaker, one of the biggest Texas fans, longtime supporters. We saw you down on the field with Matthew McConaughey there in the first half. I said this is like the pop culture ultimate ends of the spectrum there, Jez. What do you and McConaughey talk about when you're hanging out?
Football. What else do we talk about, man? We are worried about all the problems, right? We got to worry about injuries. That's all we talk about is football.
You guys both have to be obviously pretty happy after what you just saw here in the first half. What's your take on everything going on?
I tell you what, they look really good. They needed to look good. You know, we had the loss at Georgia, or the Georgia came here and beat us in our own house, and then you know, the Vanderbilt game was so. So I'm happy. You know, these guys, they look like they're getting into a rhythm, and I think that Georgia game may have woke them up a little bit. You know, I'm glad we lost then. So instead of later, I think it's any team at the top of the SEC is going to be hard to beat twice. Yeah. So I like them, man. They look good.
WWE Hall of Famer, The Undertaker, up here in the booth with us as Texas is up 35-0 and Florida receiving the second half kickoff. And Mark Calloway in your current life now, post
alter ego,
post retirement here, but you're an Austin local and you have been for a long time. You're very close to this program, and Coach Sarkisian, who always involves you with practice, you look at his first 2 seasons. Listen, 13-12, he's trying to get the roster the way he wants, and then just like the Taker, rising up like the Undertaker in recent years. I mean, look at my man Bevo. Look at the eyes are rolling back.
Yeah, rolls the eyes back.
It's over. It's over. There is no coming back from Bevo rolling his eyes back.
He rolls his eyes back, and all of a sudden last year, you guys just start tombstoning everybody.
I tell you what, yeah, it took a couple of years. Again, Sark had to get the guys that he wanted. He had to recruit that, you know, the size that he wanted on the offensive and defensive lines, and now I think the biggest thing is there's depth. There's depth on both lines, and just, I'm really impressed with what Sark's done.
Our sideline reporter, Katie George, wants to chime in, Mark.
I just have a request, Mr. Undertaker. Before you leave the booth, would you mind tombstoning Tess on behalf of the crew?
Well, hey, I would, but he's got to be somewhere Monday night.
That's right. That's right.
And I might get a little heat from people higher up on my pay grade, so I gotta take it easy on Tess.
Oh, it's all good. While you're here, we're gonna have a Hell in the Cell match. It's gonna be fantastic.
Aiden Warner.
Oh, there we go.
Is intercepted again. Warner with another turnover as Makuba comes up with the pickoff. And let me tell you something, this Texas team with the Undertaker here in the booth has taken souls and digging holes. That was deflected, and it is an interception for Texas.
Yeah, and Makuba, they get him back from a knee injury that he suffered against Georgia. This is a guy that's shown up in big games all season long. Great pressure. The second time Alfred Collins has had a tipped ball get picked. The 14th interception now for this defense, which leads the SEC. But getting Makuba back, the Clemson transfer on defense, that is huge for Texas in the secondary.
I mean, every which way, the Longhorns are in control today.
Does that always happen, Undertaker? You show up in the booth and good things happen for Texas?
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to do it every week. I'm gonna have to alter my work schedule and make sure that I'm here every Saturday.
Hey, by the way, obviously you had one of the all-time great sports entertainment careers for all the years, and now you transition to critically acclaimed One Dead Man Show, and I know you're going to be coming through Texas next month. Congratulations on all the success there.
Yeah, thank you. I never thought, it's funny, I never was quite the public speaker. I could go out and cut a promo in front of 100,000 people, but you put me in front of 10 people as Mark Calloway, and I'd clam up. So I've had to learn to open up, and all those stories that I held in for 30 years and didn't say much, we talk about and I share some of those experiences on stage. We have a really good time at the One Dead Man Show. I'll do, like I said, I'll do a few stories, and then there's a point in the show we're pretty interactive with the audience, and we'll do Q&As, and man, you never know. That's when it really comes off the rails.
I can Yeah, Cameron Williams is down as the medical staff is tending to him, so just a little time to visit with the WWE Hall of Famer, The Undertaker, who's very close to this Texas program. The guy I'm on the road with for years and years to my right here, Jesse Palmer, he would have been the ultimate babyface.
Oh, yeah.
There would have never been a heel turn out of Jesse Palmer.
Man, no heel turn?
No, I mean, look at the guy.
It's always the good-looking ones, though. Yeah, they're always prima donnas, right?
Have you seen my figure four leg lock, by the way? My submission skills? It's not just Bret the Hitman Hart north of the border.
Okay.
We teach that out east as well.
Okay.
Mark, it's always great to visit with you.
Hey,
good luck as you continue on the One Dead Man Show coming to Austin.
Coming to Austin on the 15th.
Awesome, man.
Hey, enjoy Texas.
We're gonna have an Inferno match, me and him. Yeah, he's playing Kane.
Okay, that's a good call right there.
This guy knows his WWE history, doesn't
he? Does know it.
Hey, great to visit with The Undertaker, who's guaranteeing a Texas national championship, he says.
Absolutely, 100%.
So Cameron Williams being helped off the field. Costly turnover again for Florida. Aiden Warner just put into a spot here as he's the starting quarterback today. And just 64 yards passing, the 2 interceptions, and Quinn Ewers in this Texas offense back in prime position as Wisner gets the carry.
Well, it's complementary football, and when Texas has taken it away, and offensively they're able to be as explosive as they've been in this game, particularly throwing it deep down the field, that's a tough recipe to stop, and that's going to be tough for anybody to stop. The good news, I think, if you're a Texas fan, is you've seen Quinn Ewers, especially these last 2 games, start to look like the Quinn Ewers we saw before the UTSA game when he got hurt. And when they're playing this way on offense and on defense, complementary football, and they're going to be tough to stop.
False start on the offense, number 74. That's a 5-yard penalty, and it remains 3rd down.
Here was Cam Williams. You see him not putting a lot of weight on that leg. Starting right tackle, who many feel will project someday as a very high NFL draft pick.
They got Trevor Gooseby right now filling in for him. He's only a redshirt freshman playing right tackle.
3rd and 13 as they get it out into space to Bond, and look at Isaiah Bond. What a difference maker he is. Texas can do no wrong today.
And that's just all Isaiah Bond. And this is the difference he now is making in this offense. It's not just the speed downfield in the vertical game, but it's 3rd downs, getting him the ball in space. And he makes Florida's leading tackler, the Oregon transfer Triquez Bridges, just missing space. They get 1 block. Bridges has to make that stop. He's not able to do it. He breaks another tackle and too much speed from the Bama transfer.
Now, at least you get good barbecue when you come here to Texas. These Florida fans have traveled, but they were in a tough spot to try to match what's on the field today. This team that is primed and ready, and then Florida, who is so undermanned with injuries. It is 42-0. Number 5 team in the country, set for a big stretch run, looking to get to the SEC championship game and beyond. Glad you're with us for the SEC on ABC, presented by Tums Gummy Bites. Veterans Week on ESPN, presented by USAA. Joe, Jesse, and Katie and the crew here at DKR Texas Memorial Stadium, where Florida has been so challenged, and then add to it with the turnovers. You just can't do it. 21 points off 3 Florida turnovers. But one of the big news items this week involves that man, the Florida Athletic Director, Scott Strickland, who announced on Thursday that Billy Napier, head coach Billy Napier, will indeed return to coach the team next season. There was a lot of speculation out there. You see the quote there. He says he believes in the resolve, the effort, the execution, and you can see things with growth each week with the foundation, the young talent on Florida. So Billy Napier will be returning to coach Florida next year. That's already been announced. Here's Jackson on the pitch, and a good run by Jackson. All right, Jesse, obviously you're a former star Florida football player. You're in the business. You stay close to the program. Your reaction to that news?
I think it's the right move. I think, one, it's obvious this team plays really hard for Billy Napier. You saw it against Tennessee. You saw it against Georgia. You and I and Katie saw it live last year when they went on the road to Missouri against the top Missouri team and almost beat them. But 2, I think by bringing back Billy Napier, you almost guarantee true freshmen like DJ Lagway, Jaden Baugh, and this group return next season to play in an SEC, Joe, that is going to look a little bit different based on who's about to get drafted. There'll be no Carson Beck next year in Georgia, no Jalen Milroe at Alabama, no Quinn Ewers here at Texas. Jackson Dart's gone. The Gators still have to play Miami next year on the road. No Cam Ward, obviously, in that game either. You don't see patience anymore in college football with respect to hiring and firing coaches, certainly not in this league. But I feel like year 4 for Napier, that could be the year where it finally pays off and they're able to break through.
Jackson had a 6-yard run moments ago, so it is a first down for Florida. And Jackson takes it again. Katie?
You know, Tess, every player that we speak to from Florida, they love Billy Napier. And it's not just the way he coaches or he runs his organization. They love the person, the man. Players say they feel like they're a part of his family and they view him as a role model. And Jesse, you know better than anyone, how the players feel about a coach, how they play for that coach, it matters. It goes a long way.
Yeah, it's not quantifiable, Katie. It's not something that necessarily shows up in the stat sheet. You just see it when you watch the film and the effort that these players give. And you've seen it time and time again now, especially in the last 2 years.
2nd and 6. Jackson again. Be 3rd and short from there. And the players played a big role in why this is happening. You talked about it. There's a quote from Hayden Hansen, said, we're playing for him. This locker room is playing for him and playing hard. And then when we visited with Billy Napier yesterday, he brought up the fact of how appreciative he is of the players and how they have approached things. And he's humbled by the way they went about things, to have that support, to play with effort, to respond the way that they often do. Obviously in a massive hole here with circumstances that are very challenging. Aiden Warner getting to start at quarterback today. Jaden Baugh now taking a direct snap on 3rd and 2. And Baugh will go ahead for the first down.
I think what was also really important about making the decision to keep and retain Billy Napier now is you're not waiting into the end of the year when it can start to negatively impact your recruiting. You know that there are, with the NIL era of college football, there are going to be a lot of other teams reaching out and calling players on the Florida roster. You make the statement that he's staying, and you're able to stabilize your recruiting to help build the best possible roster for next season.
Here is Warner on 1st down, and that is incomplete. And Pete Thamel, the excellent reporter and insider for ESPN, he reported that 70% of Florida's NIL money is connected to the talented group of freshmen and sophomores that Coach Napier secured and is developing.
And you have to capitalize on that. You have to keep them, and you have to continue developing them to take the next step in this league, which is absolutely brutal. So no question what you just said, Joe, went into the decision-making process to retain Billy Napier.
Second down and 10. As Baugh able to get it to the outside and picks up 4 yards. Now, listen, we have framed today in a very specific way because of the injuries. Aiden Warner, who is a transfer from Yale, who was 4th string in August, worked his way up to 3rd string. He's the starting quarterback today because that young superstar DJ Lagway is out. But look at the rest of the list of who is not playing today on the Florida offense.
And they're hoping to get DJ Lagway back for LSU. They're hoping to get Montrell Johnson back for that game as well. Maybe Elijah Badger as well. And remember, they're still trying to get to a bowl game. They need to win 2 more. No doubt, they got to get those skill guys healthy.
3rd down and 6 as he goes underneath to Baugh, and Baugh is going to lower the shoulder and get a 1st down, but a flag is down. We're going to check on that back at the 47-yard line as Warner took a big hit at the end of the play.
That's what it's going to be on Barron Sorrell from Texas.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, forcible contact above the shoulders on the defense number 88. That 15-yard penalty will be added to the end of the run, and it carries an automatic 1st down.
Barron Sorrell is a senior. He's played a lot of football. He knows better than this. Just coming off the right side as a free shot to the quarterback. He's just got to lay off. This is something that Aiden Warner didn't have to deal with a lot back when he was running the 5th and 4th team offense and the scout team offense, and now you're a starting quarterback in the SEC, and welcome to the party.
Here's Baugh, and now with Florida marching down in position, we have referenced the consecutive game scoring streak, the NCAA record, 456. 1988, October of 88, the last time that Florida was shut out.
It wouldn't surprise me, honestly, in this game if at some point in a situation like this, Napier just decides to kick a field goal, even though that's obviously not going to help in this game. He did that. People will remember his first year in 2022. They played the Vegas Bowl against Oregon State. I think they were losing 30-0.
You're right.
They kicked a field goal late just to keep the streak alive.
So Florida AD Scott Strickland on the sideline. There's a pump. There's Warner to the end zone, and it is incomplete, well beyond Marcusburg, covered by Barron.
So this is a position, I think, where if you're Billy Napier and the coaching staff, you're trying to see improvement, and these are all coachable moments. Again, trying to get to a bowl game. You need 2 more wins in the next 3 games. DJ Lagway may go or may not go next week against LSU, so these are big opportunities. I know the game is way out of reach, but for Aiden Warner in this situation down close to the red zone, for him to make something positive happen, to learn from it and gain confidence.
3rd down and 8. Gonna go straight ahead with Ball. Ball gets loose inside the 10, and it's gonna be 1st and goal, Gators.
Really nice job being physical. Bryce Lovett at right guard. Brendan Crenshaw Dixon right here at right tackle. Obviously, they get some pulls in and around, and there goes Ball over and over again. 3rd downs. We've seen the Gators run it. between the tackles, which is not an easy thing to do against this Texas front.
Trying to keep the streak alive. Ball can't find much. Just 2 yards there. Anthony Hill with the tackle. 456 consecutive games that Florida has scored in.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me here if the Gators just run. I mean, that's been their best play right now in this game here, obviously in the first half. And as we know, down in this area of the field, it gets really hard to throw. The windows get a lot smaller. They constrict a lot quicker. As you see, my old head coach,
there he is,
made the trip, watching on.
Did I hear he invited Matthew McConaughey up to the suite?
Rumor has it, yes. He invited Matthew McConaughey to come see him up in the suite.
2nd and goal. Warner. And the receiver, Jackson, fell to the ground, so it'll be 3rd and goal.
And he tripped over Alfred Collins. This was going to be a walk-in touchdown, it looked like. Collins, who's made a couple of big plays, tipping passes that have ended up in picks, inadvertently tripped Jacoby Jackson that time and saved a touchdown.
Billy Napier looking for his offense to finally break through today. Warner on 3rd and goal. That's out of the back of the end zone. And he says, let's go kick this thing and let's get rid of that goose egg on the scoreboard. And remember, Trey Smack missed from 30 yards earlier today.
With former coaches like Steve Spurrier and Urban Meyer, in those offensive minds, you don't want to be known as the guy that had the streak snapped.
456 consecutive games scoring. And now Trey Smack trying to extend the Florida streak. 23-yard field goal does just that. And that streak is 54 games now longer than any other college football program in history. Of course, spanning so much of that man's success, the HBC. We've got a Gator score. It's 42-3.
College football, presented by Tums Gummy Bites, is brought to you by Ram Trucks, built to serve.
Texas up 42-3.
Just want to give a special shout out to the University of Texas Longhorns. Go Longhorns, hook them.
Now they've been hooking them all day. 42-3 as we celebrate our veterans all over the world serving our country. Love seeing the flags every time we span the globe. SEC on ABC on a glorious day here in Austin, Texas. Just the 4th meeting ever. First time since 1940. Texas 2-0-1 in those games that span from 1924 to 1940, and now up big today. So Texas, one of 4 schools to play Florida multiple times and be undefeated. You got Villanova, Harvard, and Nebraska. What a strange grouping that is, as the other 3. Start of a big day of college football here on ABC. And let's check in with Kevin in the studio.
Tess, over on ESPN, look at this developing situation. Number 4, Miami, now down 11 to Georgia Tech here, Boog.
The Bees are stinging in the ATL. What a catch by Lane. Full extension touchdown Jackets.
235 rushing yards for Georgia Tech. Just 35 in the air. Here's 15 of them into the end zone. 21-10. Georgia Tech over on ESPN. Tess, Jesse.
And that Miami team, listen, they do not have the best group in the defensive backfield, but they can score with anybody, so don't sleep on Miami there. Meanwhile, with this score and a big roar, Arch Manning comes into the game. The 6'4" redshirt freshman who started in place of Ewers for 2 games already this season. As Jaden Blue will take it out to the 30-yard line. Ewers went down, remember, with the injury back on September 14th. Arch comes into that game against UTSA. Boy, he didn't do much of anything, only had that 67-yard run that blew up the internet.
Listen, there's a lot of things that he has you simply can't coach. He's 6'4", he's 225 pounds, and he's got arm talent. And like his grandpa, Archie, man, he can run.
Flag is down after Blue carries it.
Holding on the offense, number 56. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay second down.
You know, they say it skips a generation, but in fairness to his dad, Coop, who was a really good receiver in his day, he's able to make that part of his game. He's been a lot of fun to watch on tape, though. You can see why he was so highly recruited and certainly the future here of this Texas program.
I mean, he just strided on that 67-yarder. Of course, his uncle Eli, one of your dear friends and former teammates.
Yeah.
And here is Arch to wind it up, send it downfield, and into coverage. It is incomplete as he was trying to find the speedy Isaiah Bond.
I think that was pass interference. If you go take a look at it again, Dijon Johnson had his back turned to the football, and there was definitely some contact with the wide receiver down the field. Look at Johnson here in Bond. He gets two hands on him. I think that should have been called PI.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Johnson got there early. Johnson, who himself has been dealing with an injury, as this defensive backfield for Florida has been patchwork today. And you can hear the fans here at DKR believing it should have been PI. So a 3rd down and 15 for Arch Manning. Manning, plenty of time. And a good effort by Jaden Blue. Are they going to say he caught this? Yes. Oh, now they're saying incomplete. One official, the linesman, was saying
it's an incomplete pass. It's 4th down.
The linesman was going to spot it, and then the other guy came in and said no, he was juggling it along the side.
Yeah, I think if he had just caught it the first time, I think this would have been good. It's a really nice throw. Great job defensively, too. Jaden Robinson, linebacker, got his left hand in on that, which I think forced the bobble. It was a tremendous job by Texas's O-line, giving Arch Manning some time to step up and deliver a really accurate ball. It's a better play defensively.
Boy, and every time they show the replay, folks here, including Arch Manning and his teammates, are saying, I think that's a catch. And Steve Sarkisian.
The ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. That play is under video review.
Officials are going to take a timeout. And let's bring in our rules expert, Bill LeMonnier. Did Jaden Blue do enough here to overturn this, Billy?
Well, there's no question that he initially bobbles the ball, but then he re-grabs the ball with firm control. The right foot is in bounds. The left foot is up off the ground. Now he takes and falls out of bounds. I've got a catch.
Billy, I want to ask you a question about when he falls out of bounds and that gray area of what we still consider the process of the catch. If we could just watch the end of that play one more time. When he goes to the ground, does he fulfill the commitment, Bill, of completing the process of the catch? Watch when he goes to the turf.
Yeah, I've got firm control here,
okay.
And now he's taken and going to the ground, and he maintains that firm control all the way to the ground.
Right there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, good point. I didn't see that.
Okay.
Excellent. That's an incomplete pass then, in my error. Good eye.
Here it is again.
So there's the initial bobble you're talking about. He does kind of reel it in, but when that left elbow hits.
Review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Incomplete pass. 4th down.
Crowd didn't like it.
You got to control it all the way through.
Does my man have a stuffed bevo on top of his cowboy hat?
I hope so.
0 for Florida.
Oh, that's good.
That's fantastic.
Oh, that's fantastic. And here's what I really like about it. Is that duct tape? Is he just duct taping the stuffed bevo?
No,
Is that plastic? What's
it
going
might
on
be a
there?
garbage bag, but let's,
I don't know, I just love
desperate times call for desperate measures.
Nearly a block punt as Florida came after it.
He MacGyvered that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, just get some WD-40 and some ball bearings and a bunch of duct tape. You can accomplish anything in life. Well, we got a big one coming up in Oxford, Mississippi. As Georgia and Carson Beck is bringing it. I mean, Carson Beck is like, look at this look right here. Would you please?
Cherry red, so aggressive. Wow. Big game, though. This guy's got a lot of moxie and a lot of swagger. Joe, he's thrown 3 interceptions in each of his last 2 games. He's got to be careful.
You're throwing turnovers. You may want to go with a simple charcoal gray.
He's feeling good about his chances, obviously.
Aiden Warner here in the midst of this third quarter. Starting quarterback today is 8 of 18, 71 yards, 2 interceptions. They've been leaning on the ground game with Ball and Jackson. And here is Jackson as he is wrestled after a gain of 2.5 yards.
And when this defense, and there's Broughton, by the way, back now playing in the second half. He missed the first half because of a targeting call against Vanderbilt in their last game. When this defense takes away the inside run, it is so hard to move the football on them, because when you try to run outside or go RPO in the quick game, their speed covers it all up. They don't give a lot of explosive plays deep down the field. And when you go back and look at the Georgia game, Georgia ran in the inside in the first half, scored some points. In the second half, Texas completely took it away. The Bulldogs only had 7 points.
So Pete Kwiatkowski, defensive coordinator for Texas, as Jackson trying to bounce this and then cuts back across midfield. By the way, that targeting that you mentioned, that was the game at Vandy. And a pick 6 occurred, and it was wiped off the board because of that target.
Kobe Black, yeah, really talented young true freshman that actually took that to the crib. Penalty negated it, but Broughton, I'll tell you, it's amazing this D-line inside lost Byron Murphy to the 16th pick to Seattle, and then Devondre Sweat, the 38th pick to Tennessee. And they reload with Alfred Collins and Broughton. They go to the portal. They get Lole from Louisville and Bill Norton from Arizona. They are deep, and they are tough inside.
That was a big part of our visit with Coach Sark yesterday, specifically talking about how deep they are as Jackson takes it and spins free for a first down. And listen, he understands the formula of what a roster needs to look like to win a national championship. And he said, we're 8 deep. We can have fresh bodies that all look the same, are the same kind of player. And you go through the history of recent college football.
Yeah.
That's really what defines it.
In the trenches.
In the depth in the trenches.
No doubt. And listen, spread offense, up-tempo, everybody's throwing it around, air raid offense everywhere. Championships are still won at the line of scrimmage. Texas is deep on both sides.
Jackson's 8-yard run makes it a first down for Florida. Warner's going to get it to Boardingham, and Arlis Boardingham will go ahead for a first down.
Boardingham coming up the field. There's Taff getting a tackle. His knees go down. He's still in bounds, and then a little extracurricular shove from true freshman Colin Simmons.
12-yard reception for Boardingham. We'll see if you can just have some things that you can build on in the second half for Florida. There's so many of the offensive players not available today. Warner, quick strike, good ball, and a completion to DK.
Yeah, and I like the play call too, Joe, because at this point of the game down 42-3, you don't have to play close to the vest and play to win necessarily. Just test the redshirt freshman quarterback. Let him run some plays where he's got to take some chances down the field. The only way you're going to learn is by being in the fire. And that RPO slant, nice job of execution.
And another first down. That's 8 first downs in this quarter for Florida. They had 7 first downs in the entire first half. So at least moving the ball, moving the chains a little more, finding some consistency offensively.
Been really impressed with their running back group as well. And you think about losing Trevor Etienne in the offseason. He transfers to Georgia. Montrell Johnson, their leading rusher, now down. Jaden Baugh, the true freshman, you've seen him today. Jacoby Jackson, number 24. These two guys, the last 2 games, man, they have been running hard. Ran for almost 200 yards against a good Kentucky D-line. Then last week against Georgia, they averaged 4.75 yards a carry against that defense. Texas couldn't do that. I mean, these 2 inexperienced running backs. There's Montrell Johnson there. They're excited to get him back. They need him back if they're going to get a bowl game.
Injured his knee against Tennessee, missed the game against Georgia, and obviously out of action today as well. We've seen a lot of Ball. We've seen a lot of Jackson. So he works his way inside the 5-yard line. Let's see, do they spot this ball?
Well, still a lot of fight from the Gator offense, and maybe surprisingly, Texas still playing with a lot of their starters in the front 7 at this point of the game. You take a look at what Baugh and Jackson have been able to do in this one, pretty good. It's a very deep running back room they have. It's another place that I think Billy Napier and this coaching staff has done an outstanding job of recruiting.
As Baugh tries to spin his way for extra yardage on 1st and goal, gets it down to about the 2-yard line.
And you're just trying to find wins. Joe, you and I have referenced it a couple of times, right? Just things you can build on, and a touchdown here against this defense, it does a lot for the confidence of a lot of these inexperienced players.
2nd and goal. As Baugh does a nice job of carrying defenders with him for a Florida touchdown.
You know what's amazing? I mean, after this touchdown run, the Gators are way down in this game, but you just watch the way some of their players celebrate after they get it done. Katie did a great job reporting earlier just how much this team loves playing for Billy Napier and how they want to keep competing. Jim Dike out in front getting a little bit of a block. Look at the push and the drive by Baugh. And DK, I mean, these guys are still fired up. This game feels like it's over, but these guys are still playing extremely hard.
Remember the big, long conversation we had about the news with Billy Napier this week, and Scott Strickland detailing that he will return to coach this team, and how Napier says, I'm humbled by the way the players went about things. You just saw an example of that on that drive. Beautiful afternoon from Austin, Texas, as we continue on with the SEC on ABC.
Kevin and Boog back in studio, and here come the Canes. Down 11, Cam Ward, Isaiah Horton here, Boog.
It's amazing. Miami finally got ticked off one-on-one coverage on the outside. My favorite play, a little fade to the corner touchdown.
They go for 2. They don't get it, and right now it's 21-16 Georgia Tech, and we are getting ready about an hour away from Carson Beck. Number 3, Georgia on the road at Ole Miss here on ABC. Tess, back to you.
This is what we said about Miami. I mean, just sit back. They are so comfortable playing from behind, and they can score at any moment. Hey, remember, we are honoring veterans this week, our American heroes, Jesse. And on our crew alone, we have so many, like Chan, who works in graphics, and Buck, our truck engineer, served in the Navy. Jay-Z was in the Army for years, and the head man of all operations, Freddie, back in the day in the Air Force, and we thank them. We thank all our veterans all over the globe for everything they have done. We love honoring them on a day like today.
Very indebted to them and all their families for the sacrifices they have made. Absolutely.
Jaden Blue catches a seam. Here he goes. Past midfield before he is finally run down by Castell.
Well, it's a really nice job by Kelvin Banks, their outstanding left tackle. He's got to chase down a linebacker and get a kick-out block here on this pitch play. But you're seeing why a lot of people think this guy could be the first tackle taken in the NFL draft. The speed to climb up, doesn't have the angle, but he's able to finally get there and just get that seal. He's so athletic and has such great feet for a guy that's 320 pounds.
Gibson, as he cuts back, and will go ahead for 12 yards and another first down.
We're talking about the depth of Gators running back room. How about Texas? You lose Jonathan Brooks and Keelan Robinson to the draft, and then C.J. Baxter and Christian Clark get injured back in August. So it's been Wisner, Blue, and the true freshman Gibson. These guys have really stepped up. You've seen it today. They make plays running the ball. They make plays catching it, too.
Gibson, who is the number 3 running back recruit in the country, and a cringe for Florida as he grew up in Gainesville. And Ryan Wingo gets it and came out here to play at Texas. Arch Manning's in the game because Quinn Ewers and that offense revved it up. He had 5 touchdown passes to get this big league. SEC on ABC is presented by Tums Gummy Bites. Returns after this message and a word from our ABC stations. College football playoff rankings are brought to you by Allstate.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams, good teams, that still have to play each other. A&M They're sitting at number 14 right now. Texas still has to play them too. You could get a rematch in the Big Ten title game here. You could get a rematch in the SEC championship game here between Georgia and Texas. Who knows? Lots of football to be played. This picture is going to change dramatically.
But teams 13 through 16 are an incredibly well-coached and talented SMU team. A&M, LSU, and Ole Miss. As Gibson takes it ahead, and Gibson takes it right on in.
And you're seeing the depth that Texas has all across the field. Joe, you were referencing it earlier, the depth in the trenches on both sides of the ball. How about the depth at the skill positions? When the ones come out, the twos go in, and it doesn't feel like there's really a whole lot of drop-off. You just can't say enough about the job Steve Sarkisian and this coaching staff has done, just loading the cupboard with talent.
That's the burnt orange haze they celebrate with before the fourth quarter, by the way. And they've been doing a lot of celebrating today, especially with the Sonic Drive-In recap of Quinn Ewers Day, Jesse.
He's been lights out here, faking the swing pass, throwing it down the field to Golden. He's made all the right decisions in the RPO game, when to hand it off, when not. You've seen the misdirection set up. Lots of yards coming out of the backfield from Wisner here on the swing and after the catch. And what I really love the most, though, he's been accurate throwing the ball deep. Came into this game with just 2 completions of 30 or more air yards on the throw. He's already got 2 in this game. And remember, DeAndre Moore dropped 2 others that could have very easily been touchdowns. The question again, is Quinn Ewers back after the injury? If you've watched him play recently, the answer is absolutely yes. Quinn Ewers is back. And a career-high 5 touchdown passes on the day.
Team that's about to get themselves to 8-1 for back-to-back years. Number 5 team in the country. And of course, the playoff ranking reveal happened this past week. And you sort of get a glimpse as to where things can head. Ball on the return.
You know, you got to give Quinn Ewers, Joe, so much credit, too, because he's never looked over his shoulder. And obviously, Arch Manning comes to Texas, and he's so talented. He obviously has the pedigree. There's so many fans here in Austin that want Arch Manning to be the guy. And Arch Manning obviously played extremely well in the 2.5 games where Ewers was hurt, and then you lose to Georgia, and then you throw a pick on the first drive against Vanderbilt, and the noise gets louder and louder for Manning. But Quinn Ewers, to his credit, he just focuses on his own business and improving, and he's been able to continually keep playing at a high level, and I really respect that.
Jaden Ball will take the carry here. Been seeing a lot of that from Florida in the second half.
I just know at the quarterback position how hard that can be too, Joe, just personally.
Well, you dealt with it at Florida.
I did. I mean, I had Rex Grossman behind me my senior year, who was going to end up being a Heisman finalist and a first-round pick. And we also had Brock Berlin, who was the #1 high school recruit coming out that year. It's really hard. It's hard to just focus on yourself and not worry about what other people are doing. I give Quinn Ewers a lot of credit because he has shown tremendous mental toughness.
We had a really good visit with him yesterday, and you start to get a sense of his personality and his maturation, and timeout is going to be used here by Florida. And Katie, I thought it was really interesting to sit with Quinn Ewers yesterday and just get a sense of where he feels he is in his career.
Yeah, Tess, he knows who he is at this point, and he said he loves the verse, iron sharpens iron. He said there's no truer example than him and Arch Manning. He said we want the same thing, so we push each other every single day. And he said championship teams, you have to have mature relationships in the quarterback room, and they clearly have that.
They do. You know, there's also a story that we heard around the program about earlier this year when Arch Manning was actually playing before then injured Quinn Ewers, and there's the moment of getting the post-game TV interview, and Arch Manning said, no, I don't want to do that. This is Quinn's team right now, and I just don't want that spotlight.
You got to give Arch so much credit for that, because there'd be a lot of young players in their first or second year that are enjoying the spotlight. They want to bask and revel in their success. He played so well in those 2.5 games as well, but to maintain that relationship with Quinn Ewers, that's been paramount, I think, to the chemistry they have on offense.
A lot of pressure on Warner as he just tried to get it in the direction of Tank Hawkins.
We've seen some talented young true freshmen, obviously, on Texas as well. That's another one right there, number 11. Colin Simmons, so much speed getting upfield. He was the number 2 ranked defensive end coming out of high school. You go back and watch their game against Mississippi State, he basically took the game over by himself, and he's going to be a very feared pass rusher in the SEC for years to come.
Those here at Texas will tell you as good a pure pass rusher at a young age that they have seen in a generation. 3rd down and 6 as Warner fires it over the middle, and it's incomplete.
Good clean play by Michael Taft that time, coming up and forcing the PBU. And I wonder at what point now, if you're Steve Sarkisian, are you taking the ones out on offense and on defense? We've already seen an injury to their right tackle, Cameron Williams. We don't know the severity of that, but we talk about the championship rounds coming up. Renewed rivalries on the road at Arkansas, at Texas A&M. They might have an SEC championship game in a couple of weeks. They need to be all hands on deck for that. It wouldn't surprise me if you start seeing more of the 2s and 3s get in the game.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that SEC championship game. Of course, the new format this year. This is a divisionless SEC. Oh, boy. That's about as easy a flag to throw as you're ever going to see with the kick-catch interference, and Silas Bolden was taken down hard. Jamarcus Weston.
That's kind of my point, though, Joe. Like, do you want your starting punt returner back there taking hits like that at this point of the game? Silas Bolden's a weapon.
That's right.
On special teams, and I just don't think they need to be in the game anymore.
Kick-catching interference with targeting on the kicking team. The 15-yard penalty will be enforced from the spot of the foul. The play is now under video review.
Take a break while they do that. As Bolden took that huge hit from Weston. Now, Jordan Watkins plays a huge role in that Ole Miss offense. They will be dueling with Georgia. Critical SEC game coming up right here on ABC in moments. Georgia and Ole Miss down there in Oxford. Moments ago, Jamarcus Weston, Jesse.
Yeah, well, this was called for targeting. They ended up wiping that off. I think that's the right call. Didn't hit him with the crown of the helmet, had the helmet off to the side, and there wasn't forcible contact made to the head and neck area.
That was easy to see. Jarrett Gibson, the true freshman running back, takes the carry.
Looks like finally Texas has all 2s across the board now in the game, getting some valuable reps here late. Jarrett Gibson, obviously with a touchdown run on that last drive, looking for some more.
Here's Arch Manning on 2nd and 7, gets the ball out quickly to Bolden in space, and that is the quick burst that you were referencing.
Yeah, he's very, very dangerous. You see it on special teams all the time, and good decision by Arch Manning that time in the RPO game. Very quick, gets it out fast. Because he got it to Bolden with space, he was able to do something after the catch.
13-yard reception for Silas Bolden. Saw an injury earlier in this half, Katie, to the right tackle, Cameron Williams. What can you tell us?
Yeah, well, he could barely put any weight on that right leg when he exited the game test. He spent a long time in the injury tent. He came out walking much better. He actually actually played in Arch's first drive, but he has since been taken out as starters slowly have been removed by Texas.
That's good news, Katie. He's a guy they need, especially. I always look down the schedule, who they're going to play. That Texas A&M game at the end of the year against Nick Scorton and Shamar Stewart and Turner and some of those D linemen, they need him in.
Here's Arch. Look at him extend the play and then sidearms it for a completion. And you just can tell where this is all leading to in the coming years when you see the glimpses of talent, don't you?
He's just so strong. Again, we talked about being 6'4", 225. Triquez Bridges is bearing down on him here. A lot of quarterbacks go down there.
Ineligible player downfield on the offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot with a replay of second down.
His athleticism and balance and the ability then to get the ball back into a throwing position to deliver it accurately. That's pretty special stuff.
Former #1 quarterback recruit in the country, the consensus 5-star. Some services say top 8 quarterback recruit in the history of the sport. And of course, the future of this program, and a guy who's already shown success this season when he stepped in for Quinn Ewers. Gibson again as he brings it out to the 28. Ball came out at the end there. They're going to say it is Florida ball.
Wow.
So a fumble recovery as Florida's able to secure it. Aaron Gates gets the fumble recovery.
It was Miles Graham, the true freshman linebacker, highly recruited himself. We're seeing all types of true freshmen making plays here. Comes over and punches that football out. Great job in pursuit. Coming off a big game where he had his first sack of his career against Georgia last week. And again, Gators, they are not quitting.
College football is presented by Tums Gummy Bites. Get fast relief of occasional heartburn. Use as directed. And in part by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
It has been a fun day for Hookham and Bevo and everything burnt orange and white. 49-10 as Texas is going to be cruising into their 8th win of the season. Aiden Warner with time, and he's going to go shallow underneath to Jim DK. Transfer from Wisconsin.
Now you think about the sustained success that Steve Sarkisian is trying to build here at Texas, obviously reaching the college football playoff a year ago, and how he's built his roster. They lost 11 draft picks, Joe, to the NFL last year, but he's had 3 straight top 5 recruiting classes out of high school. Obviously, you bring in a guy like Arch Manning, the future at the quarterback position. He's done really well in the portal as well.
Jackson on first down.
You get guys like Quinn Ewers and Isaiah Bond and Trey Moore to just reload every single year. The other thing you got to give him credit for, too, is staff continuity, Joe.
Oh, that's huge.
It's the only program in the Power 4 that has had the same head coach, the same offensive coordinator, and the same defensive coordinator for 4 straight years. So there's continuity. The players are learning the same schemes every year. They're learning it from the same coaches. They're being taught the same way from the same voice.
And they have Jeff Banks as the special teams coordinator, who in many circles is considered one of the very best at that as well. So right across the board. There's Warner on 2nd and 1. He's just going to check down to Mizell, and that's incomplete.
But, I mean, you think about the previous 10 years in Texas before Sark got here. They had 7 different offensive coordinators and 6 different offensive line coaches. You can't have any sustained success that way. And so I think a combination of reloading the roster year after year through recruiting in the portal and the continuity on the staff, that's a big reason why Texas's program is where it's at right now.
3rd and 1, and Jackson will get the first down for Florida. Man, I'm so psyched when you look at this stretch run of games in the SEC. Just to look down and analyze Texas and see November 30th at A&M.
You know what I love is right now there's 5 one-loss teams in conference play in the SEC, and so many are going to play each other, right? Bama and LSU playing tonight. Obviously Texas and Texas A&M, that's coming up. Georgia and Tennessee, I think next week. And this thing is far from over. inside the conference.
Jackson again, and this is a good run by Jacoby Jackson as he drags a defender for what should be another first down. And you look at the top contenders in the SEC. Look at this beautiful skyline of Austin, Texas. You see Georgia and the Aggies and Tennessee, Longhorns and LSU, of course, a big one tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Georgia, obviously, with two big ones coming up with numbers beside their names. I'll tell you, though, two of these games are rivalry games that are getting renewed. And you and I have been talking a lot about that game next week at Arkansas. Arkansas fans hate Texas.
Truly.
It's like safe to say that. Like,
Sark talked about it yesterday.
I don't want to use the word hate very often.
You can.
But that is accurate.
Warner able to get it to DK, and DK inside the 10-yard line, up and over. So it'll be 1st and goal, Florida. No, listen, that is accurate, and anything can happen in these rivalry games, so just be careful.
Anything whatsoever. Nice job here by Warner. He's got a defender right in his face. That's Lole, and he's able to negotiate the defender and find a throw. And here are the Gators. They were shut out in the first half. Here in the second half, though, coming off of a turnover defensively, they scored a touchdown in their last drive. And here they are marching again.
1st and goal. Jackson. And Jackson's going to spin his way into the end zone. And this is a lot of what was referenced by Scott Strickland and Billy Napier, and the decision that was made to be publicly announced on Thursday of Napier's return to coach next season, putting that to rest of this kind of want to and fight.
Yeah, and just finding out about your team when they're facing adversity. Look at the push on the left side of that Florida offensive line. I know backups are in the game now for Texas, but they've still got highly recruited, very big bodies, and that time Florida just blew them off the ball completely. I think the running game has really been the one constant, regardless of who's been playing quarterback these last couple of weeks. Georgia and today, they've been able to get it done on the ground.
And Jacoby Jackson has 116 yards rushing.
They've got 200 yards as an offense, Joe.
That's right.
Running the ball, it's incredible.
49-17.
Logan Kevin back in studio after a Miami touchdown was taken off the board due to a penalty. 4th and 16 here, Bug.
Really good job by the Georgia Tech defense staying alive, bringing Cam Moore down. This defense plus 264 yards rushing. Georgia Tech is winning, Kev.
Yes, Jesse, we got an upset brewing. Georgia Tech up 28-16 on ESPN.
Boy, that is a big one. Number 4 Miami with the best offense in the country. They're going to need every bit of it. That's a fired up defense. They're up again. Hey, we got a big one coming up, and Molly McGrath is on the field during warm-ups in Oxford. Molly.
Well, hi, Joe. I've been watching Ole Miss quarterback Jackson Dart warming up. He's just oozing confidence coming off of that 6-touchdown performance last week, but today is going to be different. Steady rains are coming down, expected throughout the rest of this game. Jesse, that's got to change things for this Ole Miss offense.
Molly, it's a great point, and obviously sloppy conditions, you got to be able to run the football. It's being reported, though, that Ole Miss's leading rusher, Henry Parrish, is not going to play. And to add insult to that, Trey Harris, their best receiver, might also not go. So Jackson Dart, in those bad conditions, is going to have to be able to throw on time, under duress, into small windows against a really good defense.
And then it's Carson Beck on the other side, of course, for Georgia, who's been throwing these interceptions in recent weeks. We'll see how things go there. He's got 11 interceptions on the year, framed against 17 touchdown passes.
Going up against one of the best pass rushes in the country, too. You look at Perkins, Uman Mielen, the Florida transfer. Ole Miss right now averaging 4.5 sacks a game. I mean, they have been a terror coming off the edge. That's going to make life difficult on Carson Beck.
Arch Manning, quick strike, was overthrown the intended target. He was looking for Livingstone.
You know, I like getting in the game here in the fourth quarter and letting your quarterback throw the football still, too. I know there's people at home probably thinking, why aren't you just running the ball, get out of here? But if you're Steve Sarkisian, this is the future of the program.
Yes.
This is the guy you got to develop. He needs reps. He needs to get out there with this offense and get looks and have a chance to go execute. So stay aggressive.
Remember, he came into the game late in the second quarter against Georgia when Ewers was really struggling. Everybody was really struggling at that point. At first drive, it ended a punt. And then there was a fumble on the next drive. So getting extended time here today with this big lead against Florida as Gibson takes it again.
Yeah, and I think the thing Arch Manning gives this offense and what he'll give the offense for years to come is, one, the athleticism and the mobility, and you keep referencing that long touchdown against UTSA, what you saw. Their best play on offense against Georgia in the first half, by the way, was a scramble he had.
That's right.
Running the ball. He's also, I think, a better deep ball thrower than Quinn Ewers. Very, very athletic when they push it down the field. So I think there's a lot of big plays coming from the quarterback position for years to come here in Austin.
Oh, ball came out, but Gibson was able to secure it.
Yeah, Gibson lucky that he got this back. Instead of just falling on it, he tried to scoop it up while he was on the run. That ball goes in the belly. I think that's one that Gibson has to be able to secure, and very lucky that time that DeAndre Robinson, number 35 for Florida, didn't fall on that.
It's a Florida team that they're hoping looks very different over the course of the next week as they get back to better health, especially at the quarterback position. Gibson takes it on 2nd and 13. And that extra push from the offensive line and Gibson. That was part of the plan with DJ Lagway today. Listen, we can't force him into action in this game. We're going to go with Warner just so next week we hope to have him at closer to better health against LSU.
Because of the accuracy throwing it down the field, Joe, that's the total different dynamic DJ Lagway brings this offense, and he allows them to take advantage of the speed they have at wide receiver. When you take a look at guys like Elijah Badger and Jim Dike and Aiden Mizell, as a group, it's probably the fastest group of receivers they've had in years. They've got to be able to take advantage of that.
Gibson carries it ahead for another first down. And then, of course, defensively, we've been detailing the story that Quinn Ewers took advantage of, and that's who's not there in the defensive backfield for Florida. Devin Moore, who's been an outstanding corner, had an interception in back-to-back games. He was out, and then they had to shuffle a lot of guys around. You see Quinn Ewers there, who went for 5 touchdown passes against that Florida defensive backfield today.
And the problem, too, Joe, with that, with having those injuries at corner, when you look at LSU's receiver room and you look at Ole Miss's receiver room, they are loaded with NFL guys. That is going to be a huge challenge for the Gators in the back end these next couple of weeks.
Gibson again, as he comes up short of midfield. You've got a challenging week ahead of you. Jones got to pick somebody at final Golden Bachelor.
Wednesday night, I know. It's been enough.
Commercials have been nonstop.
I got to tell you, it's been an up and down journey so far for Joan, no question. And obviously in Tahiti, Pascal just decided to go home. So
that guy gets a lot of buzz.
He's
Pascal.
Parisian. He makes a lot of money. He drives a Maserati. I totally
in Chicago.
Yeah. But, you know, Joan right now, she's a bit conflicted too, Joe. She's got a near impossible decision between Guy and Chalk, and it's all going to get revealed in the live AFR finale of the Golden Bachelorette Wednesday.
So Texas has the rivalry game at Arkansas. Florida's got LSU at home. And Joan has to decide between Guy and is it Chuck or Chalk? Spell that for me.
Chalk, C-H-O-C-K.
That's the man's first name.
Like Chock-a-noodle soup. That was your favorite entrance, by the way, Joe, and I appreciate you always watching. Your favorite Golden Bachelorette entrance out of the limo?
I couldn't.
Was Chock-a-noodle soup.
The man brought lukewarm soup as his opener to Joan. Now, how does she keep him around when he offers you lukewarm soup?
You were sending me text messages in live time.
Nye Black with the reception. I'm all Team Guy. I don't know, where's Guy from?
Tahoe.
I'm all about Team Guy right now.
He's also a doctor.
So that's coming your way, the Golden Bachelor on Wednesday night. They got betting lines on that.
Oh, dude, listen, trust me. I mean, I'm back and forth.
Can you like offshore that thing?
I'm juggling between different types of betting lines and different genres of television.
4th down and 2 as Texas continues to bleed clock, so they're going to keep the offense out on the field. And Gibson will take it ahead and get the first down, and that will allow us the opportunity to size up the All-State playoff predictor. And this is an interesting conversation as people start to take more time to really break it down and think about where things can go. Remember, divisionless SEC this year, so it's the top 2 teams. These are the most likely SEC championship game matchups.
And you see a lot of Texas there. 4 of the 5 scenarios involve the Texas Longhorns. It is going to come down, I think, to this big matchup Thanksgiving weekend. One that, Joe, you and I have been a part of in the past. I was lucky enough to call that rivalry 6 different times. but that game's going to have a lot of weight with respect to who gets into the 12-team playoff.
Was Gibson keeping his footing there. And then, of course, there's the college football playoff reveal show that took place this past week, where I think there were some folks that had their eyes open a little bit when you start to see the realities of how things can play out. And, you know, when that board went up and they saw Texas, Alabama as a potential first-round meeting, I mean,
I'll tell you, if you're the Big 12, you couldn't have been too happy and excited seeing that first reveal, because the fact that Alabama at 2 losses and Ole Miss and LSU and Texas A&M were all ranked ahead of 1-loss Iowa State and 2-loss Kansas State and 2-loss Colorado, it's becoming more and more apparent and evident the way the committee views both conferences that there may only be one Big 12 team getting into the playoff. That'll be the champion.
We have reached the 2-minute timeout. We're breaking down everything from the Golden Bachelorette to the playoff chances. 49-17. He's had a big day, hasn't he? Well hydrated. We were just mentioning the college football playoff top 25 rankings reveal show. Well, Tuesday you got the State Farm Championships Classic. You got Michigan State against #1 Kansas at 6:30. You got Duke and Kentucky, and then between the games, that's where you get the college football playoff top 25 rankings.
Bro, it's crazy. We're back into college basketball.
It's nuts, isn't
already.
it?
Insane.
Jackson Dart is coming up in moments. Ole Miss and Georgia should be a good one from Oxford. So much on the line, so much to determine as Gibson make his way inside the 10-yard line. There's Matthew McConaughey. I mean, he's just chilling like inside the coach's box with Quinn Ewers. Matthew McConaughey and Quinn Ewers just hanging out in the final.
He's just reminding the quarterback how to read the safety rotation, make sure you work through your progressions. Here's how you diversify your portfolio in the S&P 500. So if you've ever read his book, Green Lights, Joe.
No, good.
Got a lot of really good life advice, I have to say.
Like something that stays with you.
Yeah.
Gibson can't go anywhere and then finds a little surge. 100-yard day for Jarrett Gibson.
Well, I think the bye week really served this team well. It goes without saying. And just helping guys that may have been a bit banged up, like Quinn Ewers and Isaiah Bond and Makumba at safety, getting these guys healthy. And we've just seen, this has really been a total annihilation on both sides of the ball, Joe. Offense and defense, they've been dominant.
Ewers 333 and 5 touchdown passes. As Texas is in victory formation with Arch Manning set to take that knee. They will bring this thing right on home. 2 straight seasons now that Texas has started 8-1. It's the first time they've done it in consecutive seasons since 2008 and 2009. Texas with 64 plays today and averaged 9 yards per play. 49-17 is your final score. For Katie and Jesse, I'm Joe Tessitore. We thank you for joining us. Let's get you back to our college football scoreboard studio.